Hello, everyone. I'm having a hangout with MundaneMatt, and we'll be having a conversation about the conspiracy. How you doing,
Yes.
Matt?
I'm well, thank you. I'm now becoming heavily caffeinated.
Yeah, me too. So, do you want to give us a quick rundown about this whole affair? Little
Yeah,
affair.
yeah. I can give you guys what I know of it at least. Being at the center of it all now, I guess I should say I probably know a lot.
You did
Last
start it,
weekend,
technically.
right? Yeah, last weekend I was sent a link to the Zoe post on the WordPress blog. This is before it got really big.
Yeah.
A female developer friend of mine sent it to me, and so I read through it, and I was like, "This, I believe there's some cause for concern here with journalistic integrity, ethics, and morals. I don't care about who she's had sex with, but
Nobody
so I,
does.
nobody does. It doesn't matter at all. I mean, maybe her choice in men could be a little bit better, but I guess everyone is a critic in that regard.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but it's so anyway, I did my video about that, and then I didn't think anything of it. My videos tend to only do a couple thousand, and I'm fine with that. It started getting posted around on Reddit's Tumblr and Action board, and then all of a sudden, I woke up on Monday and I had a DMCA claim from Zoe Quinn. And people have been asking me, like, is it legitimately Zoe Quinn? Did Zoe Quinn DMCA you? And I'm like, yeah, her fucking email's there, right?
Really?
Like,
I
yeah, oh
won't
yeah,
believe.
it's her email. Like, I Googled it and everything. It's her. So,
Jesus. Right, okay, so
so
we can actually confirm that it was definitely her stalking around your videos
it
because
was
she
definitely
had
her
something
trying.
she didn't like.
Yeah, I mean, and I look, I don't necessarily blame her for wanting to do it. I blame her for doing it,
Doing it, yeah.
right? I mean, like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
get,
totally.
yeah, but that was like the thing is though, the DMCA was kind of like the stupidest thing she could have done. The absolute positively stupidest thing she could have done was file that claim.
Yeah, if she'd just let it die, it probably would have just died.
It would have. Well, no, that's not true. That's not
Mm,
true. Internet Aristocrat was planning his video. Okay, other
right.
people were planning to talk about this. If you watch
Yeah.
IA's video,
Oh yeah, I've
he
seen it.
starts. Yeah, I mean it's a great video too,
Oh
but he
yeah.
starts off and he says, "I scrapped everything," and
Yeah.
this is
I did
something new.
notice it. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So as a result of that, like I think the Streisand effect kicked in, and that brought a lot of people right to it, and then his video just kind of like set it off.
I understand that the Streisand effect is trying to suppress something, causing it to basically go viral.
Yes.
So, yeah, just so everyone knows that. Just so I know, to be honest.
Yeah,
Um,
it's, internet terminology sometimes is thrown around. Like I was explaining that to my friend, and he's like, "I don't know what the hell the Streisand effect is," and I'm like, I get
yeah.
it. You're 42. Like, okay, let me explain this to you.
Um. So yeah, did you see Repsion's video? Just kind of covering.
I did watch Repsian's video last night. I was kind of waiting for it
Yeah.
because the thing is, what you got to realize about, and you are an up and coming YouTuber, much like myself.
Hmm.
People tend to talk about these things, okay?
Yeah.
And if something starts going around YouTube that's getting any kind of traction, people are going to start talking. Larger channels are going to start picking up on it.
Yeah.
Internet Aristocrats, he was at 42,000 subscribers when his video launched. He's now at over 50. I
Jesus.
mean, the video itself has been seen over 500,000 times in the span of 24 hours. It is the pure definition of viral, and
That's
everyone
awesome.
is talking about this. But yet the Repsian's video, you could tell with Repsian's video he was semi unprepared
Yeah. Yeah.
because he kept mispronouncing words. Like he called it MundaneMatt, and I'm like,
Yeah.
we know each other. I'm like, how is it that you don't know how to say my name?
Yeah. He must have been reading from the
Uh,
script.
he wasn't reading from a script, which is you can tell he was doing this more off the cuff because he was trying to kind of get ahead of the curve, if you will,
Hmm.
jump in on that viral action. Because look, all of us on YouTube were opportunistic. That's
Yeah.
just how
I'm.
it is.
I'm not really that bothered about the sort of the numbers and stuff. I'm
Oh, I'm
really
very
more
fascinated by
interested in sort
numbers.
of. Yeah. I know. I kind of got that, and I. It's no, no. It's just. I just don't think they're that important. The important thing is what you say. I think. And
I think yes, it is true what you say isn't being important, but the reach of your reach with that saying is almost more important
that's true.
because the more people hear it, the more they come to make an opinion on it. and then it can either work for you or against you. So yes, your message should be clear and concise. If you listen to my videos, they're not. I ramble. But in terms of how this thing works out, is I think the reason why Jim's video is doing as well as it is because it's like, here's what happened, here's what's bullshit, here's what we know, and this is what you need to do.
Okay, so has there been anything from... I saw Zoe's statement. I'll just get it up again, actually. I saw Zoe's statement because she's flatly refusing to comment, if I recall correctly, which means that she's obviously well aware of what she's done wrong and what everyone knows and doesn't want to talk about it because what could she possibly say?
She could just come out and say, I was involved, my personal life is my personal life, which is absolutely true. The context of how this information came out is not the best. I mean, let's not sugarcoat that at all. What Aaron did by releasing that post was pretty dickish. I think in his mind though, this was a dude who was that's why I said it's like a lover's scorn sort of thing. Yeah. It's like you've got, this dude is upset and obviously upset and
But he's been hard done by. He really has been.
Oh yeah.
I read through it and I was just like, Jesus Christ, man, why are you even giving her the chance to give you a reason? At this point, how many guys does she have to fuck before you tell her to get lost?
Maybe more. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows what's happened between then and now? Yeah. Her Patreon has doubled.
Oh my God.
She was making. Well, first it started off and she had lost money on her Patreon. And then the news broke and it went from $1,115 a month to well over 2,000.
Right. So
people are donating
support from the.
So that's why
community.
She's probably playing this up.
Yeah, without doubt.
I mean, the pure silence from the games industry at this point, the gaming press, about this shows you precisely why there's a problem.
Well, you say silence, but I was trawling Twitter, and they've all closed ranks. There's no one who's a social justice warrior saying, "Oh, she's done the wrong thing." I couldn't find one. Did you see Phil Fisher's the descent into madness?
Yeah, it's what, a Tuesday? Or no, it's Wednesday now, or almost Thursday for you. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. If Phil Fish opens his mouth, it's a descent into madness. But with Phil Fish though, he's coming out and defending her and everything, but he's missing the point. They're all missing the point. And
absolutely.
That's precisely why this conversation has to happen.
I actually had an argument. Well, I say argument. I'd like to call it a discussion with Rami Ismail.
Oh, I saw that last night.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, you just don't understand why people are angry, do you? And he's just like, well, none of it's proof. It's like, no, these things are all proof. These are all various forms of evidence, and they get stronger and stronger and stronger until I'm convinced that this is the case. You can't just say, oh, you've got no evidence. Like, no, we do. We wouldn't be talking about all of this if we didn't. But yeah, they're going kind of, full into damage control mode and just. I saw loads of just suddenly they're really concerned with current events and what's going on in the Middle East, and it's like, oh yeah, are we now?
Yeah, I know. If you look at Jim Sterling's page, it's like, Ferguson, motherfuckers.
Yeah,
this is what's important. And I'm like, I do agree, Ferguson's important, But when the industry that you live and thrive in is currently in this embroiled battle with each other, and you're kind of playing the sidelines, it's like, what are these people doing? I know, I agree with you that they've closed ranks, that no one is going to come out and talk about this in a way that people want. I was getting emails from some companies, some websites last night asking for my help because they want to be true games reporters, true games journalists and everything, and that's what they want to do. And I'm going, I don't quite get it. I'm like, I don't know how I could help you. I read your stuff. It looks okay. Just do that. And eventually people will pick up.
Just stop focusing on your genitalia.
No, I agree.
Yes, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. And that's part of what I was saying though, in that I did that video last night about the bullshit in the games industry, and it's like they tell us all these things. These people sit on this high horse, and they tell us that we're misogynistic and that we're sexist and that we're homophobic and that we hate women and we hate gays and we hate everything.
I know.
And they tell us all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't. Like I'm in love with a woman. I celebrate her femininity. I support her for being a strong, independent, business-minded woman. Nah, right? Like she likes watching
Yeah,
me.
no, totally.
She likes watching me play games. That's not like I try handing her a controller. She doesn't want to play. That's how it is. But they tell us all these things because it's a way of control. Because then
That is nail on the head there. Nail on the head. It's about control.
but and the thing is though, and I've realized this too, because I mean I've been to San Francisco, and this is where they're all fucking located. It's such like a cesspool up there for this kind of behavior, and
I can believe it.
it's like you look at like the games industry, like the AAA studios. A lot of them are located in like Washington, Seattle area. It's kind of like the key area. You've got some in Los Angeles. You've got a couple in San Diego. Whatever, they're all around. But games journalism is all in San Francisco. They're all located right there, which is why they all know each other, why they're all friends, and then they get the indie dev scene, which is in San Francisco.
Mm.
And so the indie devs move to where the press is. It's a smart move, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, but this is where if you look and see who is on each other's podcasts, who is on each other's shows, who writes, for each other's websites from time to time, on opinion pieces, you start seeing just how just entwined it all is.
It's amazing how they've got this sort of hegemony over it, isn't it? That they've really managed to sort of get a stranglehold on the upper echelons of the industry.
It's very true. But then any kind of dissent is met with that initial criticism of, oh, you're just a sexist, or you're a misogynist, or you're a troll. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, if I'm trolling you, you're going to know that I'm trolling you. There's a, if people identify as trolls, know that there's a fine art to trolling. Just telling someone that you disagree with them is not trolling. You're just protecting your feelings.
That's just a disagreement.
Yeah. It's just how it works was, I mean, what, when the Archduke Ferdinand was shot, did like his assassin just go, trolled you? I mean, like, no.
That's a good question. I imagine these days that's exactly what they'd say.
It's just that guy yesterday, James Foley, was beheaded in Iraq yesterday by ISIS. Did the guy just go, trolled you, as he kicks his head around like a fucking soccer ball? No, this stuff doesn't happen in the real world.
Yeah, but I'm really sick of the sort of and the term death threat as well. I saw in Repsion's video that he'd posted. He was like, "No, this is what a death threat is," and it was someone saying, "You should kill yourself," and it's like that's not actually a threat.
No, that's not a threat. That's not a threat at all.
Definition of a threat. It's a request. You don't have to fulfill it. But I'm just sick to the back teeth of social justice. I really am. I'm tired of people calling me all sorts of names and then getting offended, having the temerity to get offended when I'm fucking pissed off at them. It's you can't call me nasty names. It's like, no, you started that. You started with like the most extreme label in this category that you could think of. Does he hate one woman? No. Does he hate some women? No. Does he hate all women? Yeah, I think that's the one. Where can you go from there? What's worse than that?
Who knows anymore? These people, okay, like I talked about this too when it comes to, like, feminists and Twitter. If you look at some of the most prominent feminists on Twitter, look at their Twitter count, like how many tweets they've sent, and there are almost all over 100,000.
Really?
I've seen a couple over 500,000 tweets. Explain to me how in 24 hours in a day, even over the course of a few years, you can amass that many tweets. Okay, I'm on Twitter all the fucking time. I just broke 20,000 tweets. It's like, this is some shit. This is all these people do.
500,000 is just a ridiculous amount. I can't. I mean, you'd have to have been on Twitter since the start, I would have thought, to amass that sort of number.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter's been around for 4, 5, 6 years, maybe. So I can understand that, but it's like, but 100,000. I mean, like, that number is just. I mean, just like, think about that. To get to 100,000, like, I mean, it's insane. It's just absolutely insane that these people, and what they do is they operate and they live and they breathe in this vacuum. And I like to look at it too. Are you a Simpsons fan?
I am.
Okay, so remember the episode when Hollywood comes to Springfield to make the Radioactive Man movie?
Yes.
Okay, The very end of that episode, obviously Springfield took advantage of everything that the producers wanted to do, and they felt defeated, and they come back to Hollywood, and they get off the bus, and there's the other producer with the Euro ponytail, and he's like, come on, it's okay, you're home now, right? That summarizes everything to do with social justice warriors right now, in my opinion.
That is a really, really astute observation, I think.
I'm a big Simpsons nut, and I can't wait for that, like, 12-day marathon in, like, a couple days.
Oh, well, I don't have a TV over here, so I don't know.
Well, that is just on you.
It is. But, no, I think that's exactly right, though. I think it's ironic, given the amount of times, like, Anita Sarkeesian has said, old boys club, you know, because it's a social fucking justice club, you know?
Yeah,
they are so guilty of doing what they accuse others of doing. It drives me crazy, and I think that this is why, like, they're all closing ranks, because they don't seem to understand that everyone's pissed off with social justice, not any individual. You know, the ideology that they're all, and oh god, the judgmentalism, just
it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I've been kind of in a few of these embroiled battles over the last couple of years. Like 2 years ago, like, was when Ryan Perez, who worked for Destructoid, had drunkenly tweeted out that Felicia Day was basically a glorified booth babe, and it attracted the attention of Will, I'm a White Knight Wheaton, and he kind of
paid for that, didn't he?
Oh, he did pay for that, yes. And I think he's still paying to an extent. But I hit him up and I was like,
they're such awful people.
The thing is, like, Ryan Perez essentially is like just the redheaded stepchild of some of these people who live, because he still lives and operates within San Francisco, which is where a lot of these people live as well. And so they take pot shots at him all the time. But then again, like, after 2 years of kind of being under this mindset and everything, his actions have definitely kind of led to where he's at now, which is not in the best place in terms of journalism. But he, you know, like, I interviewed him about this thing, and I get what he was coming from. Like, you're new to Twitter, you don't quite get how it works, you're drunk, you're just like, you know, you're asking the question that a lot of people are, or you're, you know, putting it out there, people have been asking.
Yeah.
But you're saying it in a way that's not going to be construed as the best. But this was the start of this was right after the huge thing with when Anita came on the scene. And so that whole summer was like, pro-feminism, women are awesome, they can do no wrong, they don't poop. And that was at the tail end of that, and it just kind of like all came crashing down. So Jezebel has like articles about that too. They link over to my interview with him. Like, it's pretty funny because they call me a misogynist. You know, and I'm like, I don't.
That's their go-to insult. I'm immune to the word these days. I'm just absolutely immune to it. It doesn't mean anything. They've turned it into someone who disagrees with a feminist or social justice warrior.
No, it's very true. And the thing is, like, if there are any women that are listening to this right now, please understand, men don't hate you.
No, God no.
Gamer guys do not hate you at all. If you are gay or trans, dude, we don't give a fuck. Do you play video games? That's all we care about.
That is literally everything I want them to understand right there. I don't care. If you didn't talk about your sexuality, if you didn't talk about your gender, I would have no idea. Because most of it's done via text in the games I play. You know, I'm on TeamSpeak with, like, my mates, but I'm not on TeamSpeak with the enemy. You know?
And I think part of it comes from, like, the whole gamer girl aspect too, which I was adamantly against that, like, back in the day. I've gone to E3, I've had dinner with the Frag Dolls. They're very nice people, and I'm not against them at all. But the fact is, the Frag Dolls were owned by Ubisoft. And they were touted around as this ass-kicking all-girl team of gamers, right? And I'm like, that right there was the start of this divide, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was like, because they wanted to play up the token aspect of women entering games. And it's like, no, this is not really a token aspect. Women, I know tons of girls who play games, tons of women who play games, moms who play games with their children. It's like, this is nothing that is new. But yet they wanted to set that divide because it was sex appeal.
Yeah, but video games have always had women in them. I mean, I'm not saying they've always been positive depictions, but, you know, they don't have to be. That's my problem. It's like, women are people. They can be treated as people. You know, I mean, you've got, for every good one, you've got a bad one somewhere. It goes with men. I mean, almost every villain in a video game is a man, or at least
a white man. A
Yeah,
white British man.
yeah,
You are marginalized as fuck, dude.
exactly. I'm totally oppressed here. I'm totally oppressed. I need some social justice.
You are so oppressed. I mean, I saw that commercial during the Super Bowl with Mark Strong and Tom Hiddleston and Ben Kingsley, and those are some oppressed motherfuckers right there.
Oh, I didn't see that. I don't know what that's about.
Oh, they're all like, why are all the bad guys always British? And it's just like suave dudes like Tom Hiddleston.
Because we sound like we can take over the world.
Because you guys did.
Exactly.
For all intents and purposes, you guys had like 2/3 of the world for a while, and then you just kind of went, nah, here you go. You guys can have it back. We're okay. The Falkland Islands, fuck you, we're taking those.
We'd lost them, really. It was, Britain was in ruins after World War II. We couldn't keep it.
Oh, I know. I know.
We couldn't. So this thing with what do you think? What sort of outcomes do you see happening from this? Because I like the fact that Internet Aristocrat has given people a rallying point. And the reason I did my videos, it'd been one that I've been planning for ages, because I'm developing a video game, so I went out of my way to find out, what I'd need to know. And one of the things I repeatedly came across in these marketing statistics and all this sort of thing was actual breakdowns of who's playing what kind of game. And there's a very, very self-evident gender divide. Not to say that there aren't any girls that play one type or any boys that play another, but it's some games are very 80-90% sort of first-person shooter style, a very 80-90% male, and so there's and it was just one of those things that they kept misrepresenting the stats.
They do that, and I'm like, if you look at like that percentage, that 48%, I think, as what they say now, it's like mobile games are the predominant aspect of that. Exactly. And everything, and then like I did my video about it last night, and I said mobile games are games, and people are like, mobile games are not games, and I'm like, yes they are. You need to really shut the fuck up, because here's the thing, let's go back 20 years, arcades. Okay, I remember going to Wonderland Arcade, the Nickel Arcade when I was a kid, every single weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I can get those games on my phone. I can play the Simpsons arcade game on my phone. I can do all of these games that were 20 years ago now in better graphics on my phone. You're telling me that games I played in the arcade 20 years ago were games, but now that I can port them to a mobile device and play them while I'm taking a crap, they're not games.
Yeah, I really think the device you're playing them on doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I play in my tablet, I play in my phone, I play in my Vita, I play in my consoles. I just like to play wherever I can, and that again is it's a subsection of the gaming industry that people seem to just get locked into. Like, no, you can only game on consoles or PCs.
No, it's the kind of game. Everyone seems to make this mistake. It's the kind of game.
Okay.
When you're playing a game that isn't challenging, wrong word. You've got to be really, really careful when you're walking through this line. It is a very fine line, so I can understand why a lot of people missed it. But it's about whether there's an opponent that's trying to defeat you.
Okay.
The thrill of victory. It doesn't matter what the opponent is, as long as you have a victory at the end of it. Whereas like in Farmville or whatever, that's, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of players and whatnot that they're counting in their figures. There's no victory, there's no loss. There's, that's the point. Gamers are playing it for the game itself and because of the way the game works. I think, I don't know how to describe it.
No, I said this too. It's like gaming teaches us to be competitive. It does. It teaches us, it conditions us to be competitive, which is why I think these console wars break out, why these debates break out, is because people want to kind of feel like they're gonna win, because that's what gaming teaches us to do. Whereas like Farmville and you can win at Candy Crush. It's a goddamn pain in the ass, but you can do it.
Yeah, but there's no one trying to defeat you.
I think King is trying to defeat you in that one because they want your money.
In the actual game, though, when you're playing the game, you don't have like an opponent.
There's no real objective. It's just something. It's a simple game, but go back to pinball. There's nothing trying to beat you in pinball besides your own high score. So, but pinball is considered a game. It's the same concept.
I think, I agree that pinball's a game, but pinball's one of those games that I remember, like my mum and dad telling me they used to play pinball in the arcades, and my mum used to love it, because there wasn't an opponent.
Yeah.
She literally, she didn't like Pong, but she liked pinball. It's that sort of thing. It's like she I think a lot of women are like that. A lot of women that I've known in my life, a lot of them do. A good number of them do play like proper video games, what I consider proper. But most of them, like you say, with the Candy Crush on the phone, they're not. They wouldn't call themselves a gamer.
No, no, and the women that play these kind of games, like my girlfriend is
Yeah,
addicted to Candy Crush. She's not a gamer,
exactly.
and I talk to her about it, and I give her a lot of crap about it too, because I'm like, really, like I played it for a while, but I got to like level 70, and I was like, I'm not spending real life money to move forward, or I don't want to link this to my Facebook, and like inundate people, because I used to teach social media in Hollywood to actors and entertainers and everything, and I was always trying to tell them, don't spam your contact list, like do not and this game is literally telling you
Mm.
to tell you like to spam your shit, and just as a quick caveat, apparently someone posted a link to this on Reddit's our gaming,
Hmm.
because I just got a notification on Twitter about it. So awesome.
Cool.
We
I
might get a
just
lot of
want
people.
to. Michael Slade has just come up in the comments saying games attract competitive people rather than teaching people to be competitive. Um,
That's a
I
fair point.
I think there's probably a lot of both in there. I think he's absolutely right. I think they do attract competitive people, and games teach them how to be competitive, at least in that way, in that subject. But I think it's probably a bit of both, training and attracting.
Well, if you look at like the first person shooter genre, it's like the dude bro, which is a term I can't stand,
Yeah,
but I feel it does hold some merit. And even though Cliffy B says he's like the inventor of the dude bro franchise, or term, it's
good
kind of
win.
like, you look at the Call of Duty fans, these are like hardcore war wannabe kind of guys. I know, so living in San Diego, when Call of Duty was big, I know a ton of Marines, a ton of Navies, SEALs even, that were playing the hell out of this game, because
Really?
it's giving them that adrenaline rush that they're not getting from the mundane aspect of their day-to-day lives in the military.
Hmm.
And now, whether or not that's conditioning them to want to go out and kill, I got no idea. But at the same time, you've got stories of police officers who purchase Grand Theft Auto and play that shit religiously,
Well,
right?
I don't know how much of an effect it has. I mean, I've actually got some statistics for another video that I'm going to do. At movie Bob this time. um,
Oh God, here we go.
I hate that guy. He's such a dick. He is just such a dick. He is such a raging bigot. That's the problem. And because he's a social justice warrior, he thinks it's just fine to be a bigot because his bigotry is aimed at white men. Masculinity, in fact. So it's all down to him being bullied in school. And it's like, oh man, I'm really sorry that the people who bullied you in school were awful people. That doesn't make me an awful person, though. I was sat in the War Games Club, for fuck's sake. You know what
Don't you know that it does make you an awful person because you weren't there to defend him?
Exactly. I'm condemned in absentia. But the statistics I was going to say is basically since 2000, there's been a dramatic decline in violent crime.
Hmm.
And that coincides rather neatly with the rise of the first-person shooter on consoles.
No, I would argue that there's some merit to that discussion.
I would
I
say so too.
remember, like when I was a kid and I was younger, I used to get picked on a lot. Like, I mean, I was bullied extensively when I was in school.
Hmm.
I was beat up a couple times a day for a multitude of years. I was in therapy for it, and all this stuff.
Hmm.
And I would come home and like I was just angry at the world, right? I was just angry at everything because like they were giving me conflicting information.
Hmm.
Don't fight back, but stand up for yourself. Don't sink to their level, but rise above. That kind of shit. You know what I mean? And it's like I would play Doom. I'd play Doom and Doom 2,
Hmm.
and I just felt better afterward. But
Yeah,
do I have the need whenever I get angry to want to grab a gun and go shoot people? No.
of course not. I think the people who go on shooting sprees know why they're going on shooting sprees. It's just that there is never a good enough reason to go on a shooting spree.
No, there's not.
That's the thing. They absolutely know why they're doing it, and I think that there may be something wrong with the people who go on shooting sprees, like mentally. They may have some sort of mental illness if they think there is a reason good enough to go on a shooting spree. So I don't see any reason that like the vicarious sort of fantasy of doing it on the computer is in any way unhealthy. Because I mean, people who don't have anything wrong with their head aren't going on shooting sprees, no matter how bad their lives get.
No,
And
but I have a thought about that too,
oh,
and sorry, I think the thought is it boils down to the people that are complaining about those who play first-person shooters might grab a gun and go on a shooting spree is because people who go on shooting, like you said, there's something in their mind that's telling them that this is okay, right? So when people play these kind of games, the thought police out there can't read what we're thinking. Okay, they can't hear what we're thinking, so they don't know who's gonna pick up a gun and go shoot somebody. But if we're playing these kind of games, it allows them to see, in their mind at least, who might pick up a gun, and then by default, then it becomes everyone might pick up a gun, right? And it's like they're so afraid that one person is going to snap that they're basically saying everyone is going to snap.
Yeah,
is the way I see it, at least.
Yeah, I mean, there probably are people who do think that sort of thing. I mean, there are probably people who are projecting their own personalities onto everyone else. Sort of, if I was effectively, playing games to kill people all day, I might forget I was in a game or something. But these people tend to be older and not sort of brought up with that sort of thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, if you go back to like the early '90s with Tipper Gore and Joe Lieberman pushing the parental advisory stuff for music and the censorship from back then, like, you have to think of the children. Like that was a big thing. I remember when that happened because I'm old apparently, and but now you've got these these parents that go buy their 7-year-old kid GTA 5 because their friends got it and they don't want to feel like their kid's left out, and they don't moderate them while they play. So I feel like that's part of it too. It's like the unmoderation.
This is actually one of the things that when I'm talking to feminists, when I'm addressing feminism, one of the things that I know that there might actually be an argument for is the rape culture. Because I'm not suggesting that anyone who has had a half-decent upbringing or has, been raised for, just, of a certain age or just normal, young people now with good upbringings or just even half-decent upbringings, obviously they're not going to participate in this. But if you've got a single mum with a bunch of kids from different fathers and she's constantly got a new boyfriend every month or whatever, then it might well be that these kids do grow up having absolutely no idea what is and isn't appropriate, because
no, that's a fair point.
But the thing is, this is a consequence of feminism, So it's like, right, okay, feminism's caused a problem that they now think that they are the solution to.
I was reading an article last night talking about the problems in Ferguson, Missouri right now is a feminist problem. Like, it's because we need feminism. Feminism would fix what happened in Ferguson. I plan on doing a video about it later on today because I was reading this like last night going, where's my nearest wall? I'm just going to ram my head into it.
I look forward to seeing that video because seriously, that's fucking barking.
But this is like, yeah, that just goes to show you the movement. Like, it's not fucking needed anymore. Not in its current form, or at least not needed in this country. It's in the Western world, as you've said, it's not needed. It's like, go to where women are actually being oppressed. There was that woman in Pakistan who was like honor killed by being stoned to death by her family for choosing to marry out of love and not what her father wanted. Yeah. I would call that patriarchy.
I think she needs feminism, but it might be a bit late now.
It might be, yeah. I mean,
I agree with you.
She hit real rock bottom. Sorry, God, I'm going to hell for that joke.
Very good, very good.
It's hang on. I'm sorry, I feel so bad now. I feel really bad.
It's all right. So, yeah, this is my thing. Feminism's become kind of self-reinforcing now, and it's become self-reinforcing in the sort of most insane way. And I mean, honestly, it seems like half of these problems are basically the consequence of the breakup of the nuclear family. People not being raised with two parents, and it's very confusing. Not necessarily confusing in different ways, but just more that kids are a lot for one parent to handle. As well as then working and all that sort of thing. Then kids who've grown up with that as a norm are then going to have kids, and they're not going to think twice about that being normal, and they don't really seem to be able to see that they're really sort of damaged people. I wouldn't consider them very healthy people mentally. I mean, I keep thinking about, like, what are these social justice warriors going to be like in like 30 years time, when they're 50 and they've gone through their menopauses and they're all single and no one is interested in marrying them, and they wouldn't even consider like having relationships because they're just at the point of utter man hatred of just like, no, the patriarchy, it's everywhere. Oh my God, how many of these kids are going to go mental by the time they're 50?
A lot. And I'm kind of okay with that because I keep talking about we need to find a way to reduce the world's population. So if they don't want to breed, I'm okay with that. It's look, these people are on some ideological quest. Something in their life has told them that this is something they need to do. Now, whether it's peer pressure from friends during the teenage adolescent years when they're trying to define who they are, whether it's going to uber liberal colleges. God, I hate saying that because I'm a liberal, but it's
I always considered myself a liberal until the social justice warrior crap came. And then I was like, no, I'm pretty fucking conservative now.
I wouldn't call myself a conservative. I do hold. I feel the older I get, though, like I now understand why people are liberals in their 20s and conservatives in their 30s. Like I get that now because I'm 32. I'm almost 32 and a half. And it's kind of like I look at the world and I look to see what I feel is wrong with it, and I look to see what both sides are doing, and I'm now at a point where I literally just hate both sides.
Mate, I'm exactly the same. I'm 34, and I was, in my youth, in my 20s, I always considered myself incredibly liberal and progressive. Not that I ever put that label on it, but as soon as I got into the real world and started seeing like what both sides were like, I'm exactly the same. I think they're both bollocks.
Yeah,
I can't be doing with them. But
and I was talking to a buddy of mine last night, and he had made a comment about how politicians in America, at least, are now like America's royalty, and that becomes a lot of the discussion. And I think part of it is too is like if you look at this current situation with Zoe Quinn, and just the dividing factors involved with it, and who is taking what side, and who's fence sitting, and all this shit, right? It does kind of like harken back to like politics. It makes you really feel like this is an us against them situation, and it really kind of opens up people's eyes, which is why one of the reasons why I think Internet Aristocrats video has done as well as it's done. 500,000 views in 24 hours. I mean, Jesus, like that's insane. And it's just people are sick and tired of being talked down to. Is what I think it boils down to. And people are sick and tired of being told what to think and how to act by these thought police that tell us everything we do is wrong, while we now know that the skeletons they hold in their closet are arguably worse than anything they accuse us of doing.
Absolutely. And it does kind of harken back to an aristocracy as well, because as soon as one was criticized, they're all on her team. Even though I suspect that there are a bunch of them who are like, well, I didn't get to shag her. I didn't sleep with her. I feel hard done by and stuff. But it's the principle. You don't have the plebeians, the peasants, sort of criticizing the aristocrats. That can't be stood for. So none of them are going to be on the side of the people who are actually complaining, which is, hundreds of thousands of people.
Now it's literally gotten to that point now. I mean, you can tell when 4chan is like mass deleting threads. 4chan is censoring content.
Wow, I never thought I'd hear the day.
Yeah. Oh no, that was Monday. Because keep in mind, I woke up Monday to the DMCA. Okay, and then all of a sudden, people are just like, this is where it's like the Streisand effect kicked in. The genie's out of the bottle. People were essentially calling me a martyr for some reason, and I'm like, I kind of like was like half laughing about it. I'm like, I guess I can see that. I mean, sure, she took down a video of mine. I'm more pissed off that I lost features for the next 6 months.
Yeah, I'd be more pissed off about that as well. 15 minutes.
I'm more pissed off about that than about the DMCA claim. I really don't care. I'm like, you know what? My usual videos don't do much. This was not even over 4,500 views at the time that it was taken down. That's minimal. You know what I mean? And like YouTube world, that's nothing. But now my video's up over 60,000. The re-upload is up over 60,000. And all because this like you can't act that way and expect to not have a response. And the fact that people are, they're closing ranks and they're now throwing money at her because she's once again a victim. I would say that her personal information going out is definitely not the best. Like that shit, he was upset. He never really doxed her, but that was kind of harsh. And everything. But the
I'm not really that
implications.
interested in their personal lives, but it was important
No.
to frame the
But now
narrative.
they're making it about her nudes that got out, right? And it's not
I
that they
understand.
got the fuck out. Do you know? I was on the thread when it went live. I was on the thread on 4chan when the nudes went live. Do you want to know what happened?
Yeah.
Someone found out that she went by the name Locke on Suicide Girls, or in like BrokenDolls.net or something. They found out that was her. Some dude spent $10, bought the set, and was like, "Here you go. That's it." So it's not like her nudes leaked. These are not like this is not the term leak and the term doxing here are being so overused because no, someone bought them and then released them. This was professionally taken and they were up for sale on a website.
That's perfect.
And that is not leaking. That's not.
That's her putting them in the public domain, selling them in the public domain. I love it. She's just such a woman of such low moral character, you know.
To answer that guy T's thing real quick, no, they are not fap-worthy. They are not fap-worthy at all. Because I have the comments loaded up here, so I can see the comments.
Yeah, no, I have as well. Someone send me a link. I wanna see them.
I'll post it. I'll post it in the chat because I've got I had to copy it over myself. There you go. Good.
May as well objectify.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I'm not trying to objectify Zoe Quinn or anything like that. I'm not trying to say, like I personally don't find her to be attractive. That's just my own personal stance on that.
Yeah.
And it's nothing to do with her personality whatsoever. I think that is an absolute. I can't even make a joke about that. She has a horrible personality. So it's again the nudes coming out where I don't agree with it, but it wasn't like they were leaked. It was someone bought them and released them. And everything, and that was used against her, and I think that was part of the derailing of the conversation. But the great thing about this is that you get people like Repsian, who's got 300-some thousand subscribers. I don't know how, but he does. He's got that many thousand subscribers, and he comes out and he's doing a story about this, and he says it doesn't matter who you've had sex with, right? Which is the absolute point of the argument. No one is caring about who you had sex with. They're caring about what that relationship brings. Like it's just the incestuous attitude of gaming, the morals and ethics of the whole situation. That's what this whole thing's about. But
it's the corruption of the press that pisses me off. Because the thing is, what that does, it just turns it into a propaganda machine. It's not a free press anymore. It's specifically social justice propaganda to sell you a social justice product, and that really pisses me off. That's a propaganda machine. I'm not. That's who wants to be associated with that? Who wants to be associated?
They do.
Yeah, but but I nearly tweeted the other day. Social justice warriors, the people who I talk to who say, I'm not a social justice warrior. They always follow up with, I'm a normal person. I'm just a normal person. No, exactly. You guys are freaks.
Like I've always said that the concept of social justice is a good one. Because there are inequalities in the world that should be addressed. In America, it's in particular neighborhoods and areas that this should be addressed. But when you are living in a very highly populated city, working at a very comfortable position as, games journalist, I can't bend my fingers any fucking harder, and you are talking about the inequality that you experience, I'm like, fuck you. What do you, what inequality? Oh, they didn't get your espresso right? Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to cry about it? Do you want some Patreon fucking money?
That's my problem though. That is actually my problem. It's they make the idea. I mean, I'm all for that. I'm all for like people who are genuinely being held down by various systems to not be held down by those systems. But the thing is, in the Western world, most of those laws were passed like 50 plus years ago. So now it's just like, right, okay, we have complete legal equality, at least in the UK. There's absolutely no difference in legal standing between a man and a woman. So, if they're treated differently, then it's on an individual basis. And you can't really do that much about individuals. Most people try to be good people, and they don't obviously discriminate based on various things, but you can't stop someone who is going to do that from doing it. They'll just choose whatever reason they want. And I'm wondering if that's one of the things, God knows, they're just like, if we say that every criticism is definitely this, and we'll definitely get our way.
Yeah. They're living inside this odd world where nothing about them can be wrong, because no one around them will tell them that they're wrong. And this is you talk about the
Everyone
upbringing of
else
these
is wrong.
kids. Everyone else is wrong. Yeah, I also like to look at it too. There was that, I remember back in the '90s, that's when we started seeing, or like the early 2000s, started hearing about the teachers that were like, everyone gets a trophy, everyone gets a gold star. And I
Yeah.
like, every time I start thinking about that, I think back to the line from Syndrome at the tail end of The Incredibles when he's telling his master plan, and he goes, when everyone is special, no one is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's so fucking true, because these people want to think that they're doing something worthwhile when all they're doing is echoing the opinions of somebody else from like 3 decades ago. That's not original.
I'm with you. I'm completely with you. And I thought, okay, I'll have a quick look onto it to see if any of them have posted anything particularly stupid. And Anita Sarkeesian's posted a retweet of someone who said, the lack of self-awareness among trolls is truly impressive. And it's like, are you fucking shitting me?
That's an ironic tweet.
Yeah, just the most ironic tweet. I mean, just if we were you, we would just be like, oh, the amount of irony and social justice warrior trolls is amazing. I mean, maybe they are trolls. Maybe this is some incredibly elaborate fucking.
A part of me thinks that it has something to do with, like, I heard this concept about Republicans a long time ago, where it's like Republicans tell people that if you vote for us, one day you will be us. Like, you'll be rich, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you vote for the what the rich want, one day you'll be rich.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that mentality somewhat applies to these people, because they blindly defend them without doing the proper research, hoping one day to be accepted by them, or to, I mean, you could go as far as to say there are people out there that probably support Anita Sarkeesian because they hope one day to go balls deep in her, and same thing with, like, probably Zoe Quinn, although now they probably have a better shot. So it's it's one of those things where it's like, these are the ways people are.
I think they'd be called sycophants.
Yes, that term is accurate.
Yeah, I think that's exactly, and I think you're exactly on the nail, on the head there, because I really think that it is some sort of collective. Maybe I can sort of victim my way up the ladder somehow.
Because we've shown you that it can be.
Yeah,
we've shown people that it's entirely possible to be victimized to the point of success. And it's like, when does resting on your laurels, when did that go away? When did personal responsibility go away? How can we keep trusting these people that keep pushing these agendas on us that aren't even, like, that are always so blown out of proportion? It's kind of like, this stuff with Zoe right now is like, there was that initial push, and then there's a lot of now people start digging, they start finding more information, and they're finding more things, and they're looking at all, like, who is talking about it, like Stephen Totilo, Tatia, I don't know what his name is, from Kotaku. He was tweeting out, talking with Nathan Grayson, right? And it's just like, oh, well, Nathan said that they had a relationship that was after the article went live. And if you look at the date that he says, which was March 31st of this year,
mm-hmm.
and then Erin, her ex, posted that they started a relationship April 1st through 6th that he knows of. You're telling me that, like, like less than a 24-hour time frame is ethical?
Yeah.
I mean, did he hit send on that article, and then just, like, unzip his fly and go, let's do this, like, it's done now.
Yeah.
I mean, like, where that's so murky. There's so much cause for concern there that, like, he should be let go from his job. But
I agree. I would have thought that, in a normal company caught doing this sort of thing, I think a lot of them would be let go from their jobs.
No, well, keep in mind, gaming journalism is not normal.
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the reason I added that as a thing. In a normal job, you would all be let go. But yeah, in an incestuous propaganda factory, I'm not surprised.
Sorry, let's be fair though. Let's just be fair. if you don't toe the party line, you'll be let go.
Yeah, I think that's probably what's happened to Jim Sterling.
I want him to go away so bad
Go
because
on.
I am so tired of that holier than thou attitude that I know is an act. You
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that it's an act,
It is,
but people
obviously.
take it as pure fucking gospel.
No, that's nonsense. And when he does the little intros and outros, but in the bit in the middle, he actually talks like a normal person, and I really like those bits. You know,
I
when he's not
yeah,
talking.
I skip through the first like couple minutes of his things usually. I
Yeah,
don't want
I
to hear
do.
him talk.
But his you know, his when he goes after the AAA developers, he's ruthless, and I love it. You know, he holds their feet to the fire, and you know, really, I think he probably really makes a difference as well, and I actually really like that about him. As soon as he starts talking about gender, he's just kind of a wishy-washy social justice, and it's just like, man, I know you've got critical thinking skills. If you'd spent 5 minutes looking into like the breakdown of, say, who's playing games, you'd know that there's more to this than the surface. And I think that maybe there's a part of him that perhaps doesn't want to look any deeper because he might find something he doesn't want to hear, and so he's quite happy to lie to himself a little bit and toe the party line by just not investigating.
Well, I think part of it is too when he's going after AAA developers, he kind of has carte blanche to do that. You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
and he does have critical thinking skills, and he does say a lot. Sometimes I feel though that he runs his they come more from emotion than fact. Like when he covered AC Unity and the female avatar thing,
Yeah.
it was like, you know, everyone was focusing on one interview that was in essence not even the crux of the argument, which was if they played Watch Dogs, right, which AC Unity is
Yeah.
pulling so much from Watch Dogs. It's something they're trying as a seamless multiplayer, and
Right, okay.
so what it is in Watch Dogs when you go into somebody else's game, you are another avatar. They don't know you don't know what you look like. They don't even know what you look like until they profile you. But you know it's randomized, and so when you go into AC Unity, and you do the co-op, you're always playing as Arno. So you are going to be a different avatar every
Yeah.
time you play because you're not selecting your profile. This
Yeah.
isn't GTA Online where you have the ability to select
Hmm.
your profile and go into the world. You're playing as Arno the entire time. That's the immersion factor that they're going for. This was said. This was flat out said multiple times. Everyone ignored it
Oh, but I
because,
can't be a
oh no,
woman, Arno.
yeah, oh, I can't be a female. No. Sorry, I totally tried mimicking your voice there. I feel horrible. I
That's
have
all
like the
right.
worst British accent ever.
No,
Like,
but the thing is, everyone's like, oh, that you know, excuse by Ubisoft is just bollocks, and it's like, you know, I'm developing a game, right, and I can tell you that if you can cut costs, you need to cut costs. You know, if you can find a way of not including something that will cost you money, do it, because you know you're going to save yourself money that you can use elsewhere. So it's honestly, I've actually got a lot of sympathy for that argument, especially as you said, the characters are only ever going to play this one guy because the story demands it. So why would you? Why would you waste the money on it? You know?
yeah, it's very true. But the way that the press phrases it is because these little stories have the actual intent or have the ability, I should say, to become the large bombshell that gets all these page clicks and all these
Yeah.
all these
Yeah.
views and all this AdSense revenue. But what I don't understand is when you have people in the industry that are intelligent. You know, I would say that as much as I'm not a fan of Adam Sessler, the guy has critical thinking skills. He is an intelligent human being. He backs this complete bullshit. You've got all these other people that are able to completely, look at the situation and they're just backing this bullshit. And you're like, why? Like you have the ability, and I think they have the outright obligation, the moral and ethical obligation to come at this objectively. It's their fucking job
Yeah. Yeah.
to do this shit. And it shouldn't be on people like you and like me, even though we're commentators on the web. We're not these journalists of integrity, according to them at least. But we're the ones that are holding like the objective viewpoints that are trying to put these words out there so people understand that this bullshit is just that. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like it's crap, man.
I'm totally with you on that. I do wonder how much of it is being forced to toe the line, or face ostracism from the community that they inhabit. Because I think that
All of it.
yeah, I think that it probably is a really. I remember it's. I know it sounds crazy, but I remember like listening to this Dan Carlin podcast about he was saying about how when they were doing the Nuremberg trials, that they were interviewing these Nazis and going, well, you were given these orders and they were terrible orders. Why did you follow through with them? And they were just like, look, man, you don't know what it's like. You can't just not do it.
Yeah.
If you do that, there are all sorts of
SJWs as Nazis. I've gone down that path before, and it's bit me in the ass.
If they act like Nazis, I mean, I've got no doubt that there are a bunch of these video game journalists on these sites who are just going, well, I could make a big deal, and that would be my career. Every one of my friends is going to turn their back on me. My career is going to go. I'm going to lose my job. I can't possibly do that. That's. I mean, for the Nazis, it was obviously they get killed, but.
Well, to some people, their livelihood is their death. If they lose that, they lose everything.
Exactly.
So.
I think there's a lot of ego built into all of this as well.
And I think that is one of the problems of the industry as well. Like the community, we tend to put these personalities on these pedestals as well because they're the ones that get the most exposure. It's like, why is it that Adam Sessler? I mean, Adam Sessler, I understand because he was on X-Play for years. Oh, he was on X-Play. I was on G4 for a long time. He was just the executive producer of Rev 3 Games, which cracked me up because he was fired from G4 in 2012, and then last year he went to Rev 3. And when he went to Rev 3, which is owned by Discovery Channel, he basically turned it into the Adam Sessler network and everything. Because the thing is, people were tuning in for him because they knew him from G4. So his popularity stems from being on TV and being in the eye for well over a decade. But then he starts devolving into this madness mindset. He actually says on a panel with Jim Sterling, which is one of the reasons why I lost respect for Sterling as well, was they're talking about Anita Sarkeesian and they keep bringing up the notion of she's not coming to take your games. And I'm going, everyone knows they're not coming to take our games. I don't know why the fuck that is even being said as a thing.
It's
I've done a video about that too.
Say it. They're the only people who say that stuff.
Yeah, it's then Anita Sarkeesian tweeted out yesterday she met with the feminist gaming and Illuminati, and they've decided to take our games away until we're decent people. And I'm like, stop perpetuating this bullshit. If you want to be taken seriously, this is not the way to fucking do it.
This is what people are pissed off about, you idiots.
Yeah, but the thing is, Sessler says after that point, he basically says if you're a dick, if you're a troll, but he was kind of even saying it to any kind of discourse or dissent, that he feels he has every moral obligation to find your information and put it on the web. So at that point, I'm like, do you support doxing people that you disagree with? Okay.
Why would he think that? Why would he think that that's a good idea?
Because this is what they want to do. This is what we've seen. It's this is kind of how it is. That's the ultimate threat now. It's like your information's going out. That's why I'm not fighting the DMCA. Yeah. I'm not fighting the DMCA because I don't want to give her my name, and I don't have the money to hire an attorney to do it for me. That's just how it is. It's like I'm being censored, or I was being censored for something that I would easily win in a court of law because a girl is upset that her information got out there, and if she even took a half a second to listen to what the fuck I had to say, I said remove all sexuality from the situation. It doesn't matter if you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're trans, if you're gay, if you're straight, none of that shit. And look at who the relationships are and where you benefit. And that's precisely what the argument is. And she wanted to silence that. And because I don't want to have her have my name, in which case she would then probably turn it over to her friends, I don't want that. So I have to just sit here and wait, take my punishment, wait the 6 months before I can do a goddamn live stream again and unlist videos, which is crap, Yeah. So it's like, but do you hear me coming out every single day and go, I'm a victim? No. You know what? You take your licks. This is the world we live in. You take it, you move on, you grow from it, you get stronger. You come back better than before. And if you sit there like a whiny little brat, and this goes to everybody that does this shit, not just her, it shows you where your mentality is, where your mindset is, and how we cannot take anything you say seriously when you throw temper tantrums left and right.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
Sorry, I get passionate. And
no, mate, you've been on the receiving end of it. That's the thing. If I'd been on the receiving end of it, I don't doubt I'd be doing the same thing. And the thing is, it's also uncalled for. It's bullying tactics. It's childish. It's playground sort of, gang tactics. And, they really, really don't understand that it's this sort of action that makes everyone think, right, social justice warriors can fuck off. They want to talk about cyber mobs and all that sort of thing. They are literally the ones who are acting as cyber mobs. And they are actually coordinating, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're coordinating against us." Like, no, we're not. You just piss a lot of people off all at once.
It's because I think what it is too is we tend to adopt the mentality of us versus them, but the us versus them should be us versus. Well, no, it's true, but I mean, it's kind of like I remember the movie PCU. You ever see PCU with Jeremy Piven from like '93?
No, I don't think so.
It's a great fucking movie about college, but they end up protesting, right? And basically it's like this took place during the whole political correct bullshit in America from 20 years ago, and this was like at the height of it in college, and it's like protesting constantly about everything, and Jeremy Piven goes like, it's like it shouldn't be, it should be us versus them, but they've made it us versus us.
Yeah,
and I echo that sentimentality quite a bit, just because, or that mentality quite a bit, because I think it still reigns true. It's like, it's the divide and conquer mentality. And if you think of it, that's what I said in the video about the bullshit of the games industry. These people come in and they try to sectionalize and marginalize and demonize people into these little groups and then pit them against each other. And it's like playing a really fucked up game of chess, right? And then as they're trying to, like, they divide everyone up and they cause us to infight, and then they stand back and they go, "You're all shitlords."
Yeah, it's absolutely. And the thing is, I love the way that it's got too blatant now. The dividing line is between normal people and social justice warriors, which I find that very amusing. But I mean, one thing though is they're very servile to each other.
What do you mean by that? Sorry, I've actually never heard that word before. So.
Oh, sort of.
You have a good vocabulary. Mine is mostly full of shits and fucks.
That's all right. I got called up on the amount I swear. By my mum, who watched all my videos.
My mom has not, and I am so happy.
My mum's pretty cool. She knows. She understands. What was I going to say? Yeah, there seems to be this kind of sort of, I don't want to say totalitarian mindset, but it's the only way I can really think of putting it. They're incredibly concerned with authority. I've had lots of dealings with like these people where they're just like, well, I mean, like Rami Ismail the other day, literally yesterday, he was like, well, no one said that, and I'm just like, what do you mean no one said it? It's like there have been no articles about it. It's like, there don't need to be articles about it for it to be true. He seems to think it's only true if someone he knows has written an article about it, and that's a really, really bizarre thing to think. I don't really like. Things can be true even if people I don't like are writing about it, in my opinion. But
yeah, I mean, we don't have to all get along. That's the other thing. We don't have to, and like, we don't have to all agree. We don't have to all believe the same thing. The great thing about the culture of gaming, or even the culture of the internet, or wherever else, is that it is a big melting pot. We all have different experiences. We all have different tastes and likes and dislikes, and that's fine, and that's great, and we're allowed at that point to kind of like meet other like-minded people. But sometimes it's the way that I see it is, it's like these people are trying to dictate what is likable, what is dislikable, and then demonize you for not thinking like them.
Well, that. I was actually thinking about this before we started this. It's really weird because it really seems that we just need to, like, I don't know, not start a petition, but sort of like create like a big e-card that we can get hundreds of thousands of people who watch the Internet Aristocrats video to sign. Just that says, okay, social justice warriors, we know you don't like us, and we know you don't like the games that we buy. We don't have to talk to each other. We don't really like you either because you're a bunch of arseholes. You clearly don't like us, so let's just leave each other alone. That's what I'd like to see.
Why don't we we'll treat this like elementary school playground, okay? You in your corner, okay? Don't come this may be neutral territory, but don't come here if you're kind of feeling like you're going to fight, but you stay in your pocket, and everyone can be. And I think that's what most gamers just want. Because, okay, here's the other thing with this too, is gamers, again, that term is so branching and overreaching and everything. It becomes this thing where we all just want to, one, play games. That's the general gist behind it. And we all like to play with other people, and we all like to be able to play. And because it's $100 billion a year industry right now, the majority of people that play games have no idea that this controversy is going on. They have no idea about almost any of the controversy that's going on. So the people that we like when we're talking about this, or even the reviewers or the critics, if you will, the journalists, quote unquote, are talking about with this stuff is very much to a smaller audience. Now they're always hoping more people jump on, and the audience itself is pretty big. But out of all of my friends who frequently game, I am the only one that reads these sites. I'm the only one that talks about these issues, because the rest of them are just going like, hey, did you get the new Game Informer? Oh my god, did you see that spread on Evolve? I can't wait to play it. And I'm going like, no, wait a minute, there's stuff you need to know. It's like they're fascists. No, I'm kidding.
A, they are, but B, that's the sort of thing though. It's going to impact the games that they're available to those people in the future. If they can convince everyone that actually, half of Call of Duty players are 39-year-old mothers, or whatever they said in their fucking statistics. It was something like the 31% of gamers are females over 30 or something, which is more than teenage boys under 17. And it's like, yeah, that would be why there are loads of middle-aged mothers playing Call of Duty all day and calling me a faggot and saying that they're going to shag themselves or whatever. It's such bollocks. It's obviously two different industries, and it really needs to be treated as such.
It is. It really is. I think about a lot of it, like what could be done to like help everything, and my goal with my channel and these videos and all this stuff is to just like spread some form of moderate awareness.
Yeah.
Like we were talking before the thing begins, you're saying that I'm a moderate, and I feel that somebody has to be, even if it's me. I get passionate about things, but I feel like sometimes there's got to be that person that can be in the middle and can go, okay, you both make valid points, but let's try to find a reasonable course of action. Like, and that's just how I am in my personal life too. So I kind of gradually went towards that, mindset with my internet career, if you want to call it that. But it gets so hard because just any kind of, and this is weird, any kind of dissent from either side of the party. Because we're talking about social justice warriors, but let's take a second though to acknowledge the fact that the people on the other side of the discussion have been doing and saying some pretty horrible things as well.
Yeah, okay, that's a great point actually. I'm not a 4chan user, and I really want to be in the middle, but I can't help but become a bit of a counterbalance so if I see someone extremely far one side, I find the need to kind of go the other side just to show them how this is so unproductive.
I don't know if you ever saw my George Zimmerman Trayvon Martin coverage. I was that counterbalance.
That was a while ago.
That's from a long time ago, but it's just like, that was the point. This Ferguson situation, I've been doing the counterbalanced response simply because there's a lot of information people aren't looking at and they're choosing to willfully ignore. But I will say this though, because I was on 4chan while this stuff was breaking. I've never seen them more reasonable. I've never I know, right? Like, I went into the IRC chat and I was listening to them discuss things.
That's the last thing I was expecting you to say.
Yeah, I know. Like, the fact is, if you read some of the posts, they're saying like, listen, this is something that we care about. This is something that we are taking issue with. This is something that needs to be discussed and needs to be talked about and needs to be seen. What we need everyone to do is we need everyone to not use foul language, to have well thought out, articulated arguments, and don't give them any ammo to claim that we are trolling, that we are trying to cause trouble. We need to be moderate. This is important to them when they're telling everyone, shut the fuck up unless you have something constructive to say.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there are your detractors, but those detractors are being pushed out. They weren't involved in the conversation. Like the IRC stuff was basically like, okay, here's what we know. Here's what we're trying to spread this information. What do you guys have suggestions? Okay, here's the pay spin. Here's the information that's been updated. And I'm right in there too. I'm in the chat room. I'm talking with them about things. And they promoted me to like one of the top players in like the chat room, so people knew that like, oh, MundaneMatt's here. Holy shit, this is real. And I honestly think my presence, because the DMCA just happened and I was just like bored and like wanting to read what they were saying. It kind of got them to go, okay, we know what happened. We have a direct, we have a shots fired moment here. How do we respond? And they were scrambling to do the right thing.
That's incredible, isn't it?
I was in awe, man. I've been going to 4chan since 2006. I mean, like, I was in awe watching this, and I'm like, see, this is why this situation is important. Because if you've got Reddit and you've got 4chan, and they're basically saying, whoa, we're tired of this crap. We are tired of the censorship. We're tired of the deceit. We're tired of the lies. We need to put down our torches and our pitchforks aimed at each other. Basically think of it kind of like Joette Noel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or that movie where it's like World War I, the French and the Germans put down the Christmas day, right? That's kind of like what it is. To be fair, it's like Christmas fucking morning. You know what I mean? And everyone's just having a good old time, and they realize that someone else is the enemy, and they need to come together to deal with that.
Yeah.
And we've been covering a lot of odd history moments in this entire thing today, which is awesome.
That's all right. That's all right.
I like history, so but it's a lot like that. These people are you can tell the response from this is of people who are going, no, enough is enough. We're tired of this. We're tired of your attitude. We're tired of your mindset. We're tired of your holier than thou rhetoric, and we're tired of being told that we're the problem.
Yeah, that's
what this whole thing boils down to, and that's why even Total Biscuit jumped on board. Like, what the fuck, dude? He messaged me. He put I did that video about the ups and downs of being a YouTuber because I had a really odd week, and he commented and he was like, "Here's how you fight a DMCA." I'm
that's
like,
really
damn, man.
That's really good of him.
Like, I didn't think. Like, that's cool. I don't agree with everything he has to say, but that gave me an absolute lot of respect for him as a result of that.
That's the exact. See, that is the mature thing to do. Ultimately, and all the social justice warriors do is immature. Every single response I've seen from a social justice warrior has been immature. It's the banning, it's the talking down, it's the blocking or whatever. It's the flat denial of what's happened. It's the name calling, it's the denial that anyone on the other side has an issue, that they might be wrong and they might be supporting someone who's in the wrong. They're just completely childishly just the DMC and all that sort of thing, and it's just like Total Biscuit is just like, you guys don't understand what the problem is. It's your fucking attitudes. This whole thing with social justice, right? I always think that how would I feel about it if they'd just not been twats? If they're literally like, if Anita Sarkeesian came and say, "Hey guys, I don't really. I've had a lot from a lot of women when they're saying, look, there aren't really very many girl-focused games, and we'd really like something. Is there a place in this community for us?" They would have had such a different response than barging in and calling everyone names. They'd be like, well, of course we want girls in. What sort of games you'd be interested in? Publishers would be like, oh, new market, brilliant. I didn't even have to do any research to get this. What would you like? There'd be no kind of pushback whatsoever. And you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. And they've gone in like spiteful children, and now they've got like, now they occupy the cool part in the playground or whatever, the swing set or whatever it is, and they're sat there. They climb up on top and dictate to everyone how it is, like they fucking know.
No, and that's very true. I don't know how they've gotten the platform too. I think it's because, I honestly say it's because of San Francisco's mentality. A lot of what it boils down to.
I think it's the nepotism, that, isn't it? That everyone, they've promoted their friends, they've promoted the people they're fucking, they've hired this person, that person, because someone else knows someone else, and it's just become this homogenous group.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people come and go from the industry and whatnot, and they just kind of hire from within, and they keep kind of all coming around. Yeah, it's a lot of the nepotism and cronyism and all that. And it's it's at this boiling point right now, and it's so funny that it took this particular moment because Zoe Quinn is not a member of the games industry. She's not. She's an indie developer that was trying to silence dissent. She'd be better off posting like some kind of filing a claim with WordPress about the post, about the blog post, you know, to get that taken down more so than it would have been taking down my video. That would have done more damage if she removed the source and everything than going after someone just voicing criticism. Um, but yeah, these people they've gone unchecked for so long, and people are we're just tired, man. We're just fucking tired of it. So, can anyone out there hear me?
I'm back.
Oh, okay, okay, good.
Sorry, sorry about that. I should have warned you that my internet connection is dodgy, and every
Oh,
now and
okay, because
again.
I'm sitting there going like, is anyone else here? Like, and because I can't see if all the comments kind of come in batches.
Yeah, they
So
do.
okay, that was like 2 minutes of pure silence. I'm like, do I close out? Like I
No, I should have. Yeah, I should have warned you. You don't need to close out. I'll be back. It's just that I need to reload my internet connection, basically.
okay,
Um,
yeah, faulty. You know what it
I,
is? It's the patriarchy trying to come shut you down. For
why would it shut me down? I'm part
sorry,
of the
it's the
Patreon.
matriarchy because you guys are ruled there by a queen.
Yeah, no, she doesn't do much ruling. Um,
No, she does watch Game of Thrones though.
does she? I didn't know
I
that.
think so. Or I know she wouldn't sit in the Iron Throne, and that was apparently national news in
Oh, I
America.
saw
It was
that. Yeah.
national news in America. The Queen of England won't sit in the throne of iron. Nah, that's
Do you mind if I grab a cup of tea? Anyone who
go.
watches
Yeah,
my
go. I
podcasts
understand
regularly will.
that it's late where you are, and tea time probably has been passed.
Yeah, I'll be back in 2 seconds if you want to answer questions or something.
Yeah, if anyone here can post some questions and whatnot, I'm looking at the comments right now. Um, so we've got a lot of different things here, a lot of different comments. So yeah, I'm looking at this. It's kind of in batch. So tweet me questions at MundaneMatt would be good to tweet me, and I can answer you guys your questions about this. And it's a good conversation about gaming. Just because I feel that a lot of us here who love playing games are constantly under this attack from some, this narrative that we're all evil. And when you have people like developers like Phil Fish that are saying we don't deserve to play video games, we don't deserve the games that they make, it really shows you the mindset of these people and how much of a bubble and a vacuum they live in because they basically just kind of circle jerk each other, in some cases literally, and push it to an agenda that makes us all bend to their will if we want to play the games that they make. Thankfully, gaming has become such a huge and expansive market that where one person might be a dick, regardless of whatever they're trying to spew, whatever side of whatever coin, there's always an alternative. There's always more to play, be it console or PC or mobile. And that's what's great about being a gamer in 2014. So I'm totally down with the industry being able to have that diversity. I just want more people to open their eyes to who's trying to steer it in what direction, and that it's not beneficial to everyone. So that's what I want to say about that. But let's see if I got some questions coming in here. Okay. Okay. Four Button Soul asks, MundaneMatt, do you think Robert Arnott was influenced to give her an award? I did see the imagery that came out of that from the Indiecade. I haven't gone through like and looked at the dates to see what might coincide with what Aaron was saying originally with that. You know, I honestly I have no idea if he was influenced to give her an award or not. I don't know. These are really tricky and delicate situations that require a lot of people to do the investigative work before coming to a determination. So it's one of those things. With that, I don't know otherwise. I wish I did. I just don't know. Let's see. Gone Rampant asks, do you honestly believe anything will change thanks to Quingate? I do actually. I honestly do feel things are going to change. They're going to change because the response from this has been so massive over the course of the past like 36 hours that people are so desperate for change that they really want. They're going to push something. Either it's going to cause people in the industry in the games industry to be more forthcoming with their relationships, which is ultimately all I can ask. If you want to know the basis of what I want out of this, it's just that. I want transparency, and I want no cover-ups, no bullshit, and I want to be able to trust the sources that I read, and obviously those sources are not Polygon or Kotaku, because they're so skewed to one angle that you can't even take them seriously regardless. But this should be a learning experience for every other journalist out there that wants to get into the industry, that you need to have this kind of transparency to disclose who you're friends with, because information on the internet is easily found. And if you look at like the developers that are friends with reviewers and they're on each other's podcasts and all these things, and then these reviewers give them coverage, you see all these things happen. Like it's very easy to start putting it together. And then when you start putting it together like that, the ideas and thoughts of corruption and nepotism and all of these other things start coming out. And if they're simply not true, then don't you feel that it's in their best interest to disclose this information earlier to squash any thought process from that? That's what I think. Let's see. Dead Asian asks, did you guys discuss the website that got taken down for reporting this incident? Are you talking about GamesNosh? Is that what you're talking about, Dead Agent?
I didn't hear about that. What was that?
I did hear about that in terms of they were GamesNosh. Yeah, you know what I think it was? I have a feeling it was more about them getting hit with traffic than them trying to take down the article. That's to me what it felt like when I first read about it, but I don't know the specifics. Host wants us to remove the article, seem to find a workaround to satisfy them. Oh, it might just be something. When I worked on a website a long time ago, we got featured by Penny Arcade, and they kind of took a lot of, gave us a lot of shit, and through the way that Penny Arcade does, and we actually got 1 million unique hits to our very small, very new website in a day. And it crashed our server for like 3 weeks. So that could be something. This was blowing up at the time. If their host is a smaller host that can't handle that amount of traffic, maybe. But the way they say they're trying to find a workaround, there might be maybe trying to do something with that. Again, they haven't really been forthcoming with that information, so I have no idea. Let's see. Okay, Black Trident asks, is there some way to put more of a spotlight on Grayson in this matter? Enough people are already doing that. Enough people have been looking at what Steven Tortilla has been saying.
Which one was
I'm
Grayson
saying his
again?
name wrong on purpose. What?
Which one was Grayson again, sorry?
Grayson is the one that she has, I think, the more ongoing relationship with. He's the one.
He's the boyfriend who wrote it, or?
No, that's not the boyfriend who wrote it. That's the guy. That's the guy that she was cheating on him the most with, I think. That was if you read the post, like when she made up the 3 people that were staying at her house for a week, and it was really just Grayson staying at her house for a week, and she admitted that they got like a little bit more affectionate than they should have. That's what it was. So Grayson's. That's why he says like that's why Grayson was kind of the focal point of this. But no, Stephen Toledo from Kotaku is trying to defend him, but it's almost non-defensible because internet detectives who obviously put more time and effort into the work than these journalists do. Sorry, journalists. They've been
I
putting
don't think
the
that word's
timeline.
appropriate, is it?
No, but the thing is, what other word do you use? I mean, really, what other word do you use? Like, I'm not even a big fan of the term social justice warrior, but it's just an easy enough description. It's like feminism or feminist description. Feminists say men's rights activists when, they want to talk about anyone who doesn't agree with them in general. It's like, it's these broad blanket terms because we don't have anything better.
Yeah. It's the thing they call themselves, isn't it? So.
Yeah. I guess there's a lot of questions here. Let me just quickly go through like one or two more of these.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, let's see. Ali7732 asks, how do you think we'll look back at the situation in, say, 5 or 10 years? It will be a footnote in the gaming history. That's all it's going to be. If there's no actual change from it, then it's just going to be a blip like, oh, this one time for a couple days, this one female developer was harassed on the internet.
I don't know. I think this has hit on a real sort of...
But it all depends on how long it keeps going and how much people can keep the fight going. Well, people lose interest very quickly if there's nothing new to grasp onto.
They do, but I do think that a few reputations have probably been sullied beyond repair at this point.
Oh yeah, I would say that Zoe herself has got kind of a bad rap, and dutifully so, actually.
Absolutely.
When you try to cheat the copyright system to work in your favor because you're trying to close out dissenting opinion, that really wasn't that horrible to begin with.
I think her sluttiness is probably something that's going to really, and just the whole culture of corruption, just the whole culture of it. It's I never thought particularly well of them anyway, but I was always thinking of it as individuals, But now I look at it, I take a step back and look at it. It's very obvious that there is a very large and very vocal and influential group of people who are basically calling the shots. And I'm not sure that this is just going to go away. I think that it's hit on the depth of feeling that people have suddenly got a point to rally behind. Go, look, this is everything that's wrong with you guys. And if you all support it, then we're not with you. That's how I feel about it.
And a lot of people are very much in that same mindset, and that's awesome because it does give us something to kind of put down our differences and come together to discuss these issues that need to be discussed. And to tell the people, it's like you hear about this. I don't want to go as far as to say this, but I feel like it's relevant right now. Mm-hmm. This is our American Revolution.
It might be.
This is the Boston Tea Party. This is we're tired of the taxation or insults. We're going to dump all the shit in the bay.
My tea.
My tea. See your tea. You just had your tea. Enjoy your last tea, motherfucker. Okay, it's all going overboard now.
But seriously, I think that I wouldn't be surprised if someone were to start a site. And I'm not the person to do it because I'm making a game. I can't do that. That's my investment. I can't be the one to do it. But if someone were to do it and just hire a few good people, give Total Biscuit somewhere to go, help, and he could literally you could start an alternative press for video games.
Well, I think the alternative press is there.
Well, I'm not really familiar with it, to be fair.
It is
with the loud social justice warriors.
Yeah, well, you've got like Gather Your Party, which is an up-and-coming site from a lot of 4chan VTards, if you will.
I like the sound of that because and
they do a lot of, and it's gaming journalism and it's gaming commentary without that spin.
Okay, I'm just looking these up as you tell me them because I've not heard of these before.
I spend a lot of time on the internet. I actually had a 2-hour conversation the other night with one of the guys from GYP. It was funny because he lived in my old neighborhood up in North Hollywood when I used to live there, and so he was like, we were reminiscing about the stomping ground for a while. Makes me really miss it. But he was saying it's like these are people that like they're trying to get the word out. They are absolutely trying to do away with this kind of attitude. But it's with everything in life, follow the money. Okay, who owns IGN? News Corp. right?
I don't
People
know.
here know who News Corp is. It's owned by Rupert Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch owns Fox. Okay, so IGN was bought by News Corp like in the early 2000s, I think, or maybe the late 90s. GameSpot owned by CBS. Giant Bomb.
They're all major media. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, Giant Bomb, which was created as a direct, response from some bullshit with GameSpot, was recently purchased by CBS. You know what I mean? Like, it was purchased by this
Wow.
company and everything. And pardon the plane going overhead. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You've got a lot of these other sites are owned by larger companies. Rev3 Games owned by Discovery Channel.
I didn't
And
know that.
they
I'd never
put
looked
all
into it.
of this money in. Oh yeah. That's the thing. These companies are owned by larger media conglomerates, and it's so it really shows you that the industry is completely taken over with money. I mean, look at, like, everyone always talks about the publishers, how much money they spend on press, and I've gone to Activision parties. I love those parties. If I ever get to go to one again, it's going to be awesome. They have an open bar. I get fucked up on Coronas, and I'm happy. Like, I went to the COD Expo they had a couple years ago in like right by LAX. It was
Yeah.
2 days of Call of Duty experience, and it was like, I was like, all right, I'm going to cover it for another website. I got the ticket to go into the back where the open bar was. Guess where I was the majority of the time? Drunk.
Well, obviously.
Because it was fun. I'd go and I'd play a couple games of the game. I'd run back into the bar, do a few more shots, run back out. And that's what they do. They spend all this money on these big media events, but the people it's all one big kind of, who's got the most money to spend on these things. It's like, but if you follow the money, you'll see where the money goes, and that's why these smaller sites, they struggle so hard,
Okay, well
because these are
let's name some quickly, because
some,
I'll
like,
put
younger
them in
sites.
I'll put them
Okay.
in the video description. Independent sites. So gather your
I like
property.
evilavatar.com. And for disclosure, I post my iOS one-shots for my gaming channel on there whenever I get around to making them. So I do have a relationship with the owner of the site, but I happen to actually like the site as it is. So
So
that
I like evilavatar.com.
yeah, I like evilavatar.com. I do read, like, Reddit a lot, the subreddits for gaming, because it's not just the same articles. They pull from different sites because it's an aggregate. So you get a lot of information from there. But again, it's harder for these smaller sites to cover it as rapidly as everyone else, these larger sites do, and so that's why the little guys get kind of brushed out, or snubbed out, because they don't have the time or the resources to develop their own fan base. Evil Avatar's been around for a number of years, and so it's like they've got a strong fan base. I think they get like 500,000 views a month,
That's not bad.
and so it's like that keeps them going and everything. And so and believe me, there's no filter on that website, like, at all. So it's really nice to kind of go get the unbiased opinion from people.
Yeah.
As you're talking about the current events in gaming and everything.
Any others off the top of your head?
Top of my head. I know that site's not even around anymore. Shit. I got to think about it. It's, again, I mostly just read. I love DualShockers is another one. They're more of like a mid-level. They're independent. I believe they're independent, but they cover a lot of things, and they do a lot of really good in-depth reporting, and they don't do any of that kind of politicalized bullshit.
Good. They definitely sound like the sort of place I'd like to go.
So, yeah,
I never knew about any of these things.
Yeah, no, this is a big thing. It's like, gaming is so huge. Everybody, when I first started the website, the first website I worked for was in 2000. That's how I got to go to E3, because I lived in San Diego, and the guy was from Olympia, Washington, and he was like, "Hey, listen, do you want to go to E3?" And I was like, "What is it? I've never heard of it before." And he's just like, "Oh, it's this gaming thing," and he goes, "Bruce Campbell's going to be there," and I'm like, "I'm in."
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I took the day off of high school. Like, I took the Greyhound from San Diego to downtown Los Angeles and shit. First time 18-year-old kid going to LA, walking around. But the thing is, my first year at E3, the N64 was there. It was the last year the N64 was there.
Yeah, that was
like, I mean, that's how long ago this was, and Jesus. It was like, I've been there. I've been in this world for so long, and so I care about it. And to see it kind of devolve into this mindless bullshit is sad, because it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that way. But
Yeah,
it's all money and power.
yeah. I mean, I tend not to spend much time reading print, either digital or real, because I just don't have time. So I end up relying on videos on YouTube most of the time to get my news. So
But to be fair about that,
social justice warrior infested.
yeah. But the great thing with YouTube is it allows anybody with an opinion, with a microphone, with an iPhone, which is what I do, or whatever, to tell you what's going on, to give their unbiased opinion, or even biased opinion, if that's what it is.
Yeah.
If that's how they're going about it, and it allows you to get a different perspective of the industry, and a real perspective of the industry. And that's what I think is one of the reasons why people like Angry Joe and Total Biscuit and others have blown up as much as they've blown up. It's
I think
because
it's very much like I think, like you say, it's a place where anyone can have their opinion heard, which is fantastic, which is why I'm here, frankly. But I've noticed that when I was talking to a few of these social justice warriors, they were like, "Oh, it's a YouTuber," and it's just like, "Oh, right, okay." So and I've heard feminists say, "Oh, YouTube's comment sections are overrun with MRA trolls and all this sort of thing," and it's just like, right, okay. So you've pissed off so many people that they're going to the first place they go to when they want to have a public voice, and there are so many of them there that you think the place is overrun. Now it's just an awful place now. And I mean, they don't seem to understand that they're going to kind of box themselves in with, in a tiny little bubble where they can't go out of it, because everyone everywhere is an awful person. And that bubble is going to be called Tumblr, I think.
yeah, Tumblr has done a lot, but it's God, Tumblr.
I know.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Here's the thing too. I as a blogging platform,
It's probably amazing, yeah.
it's amazing. Oh my God, it has so many great things, except for direct communication. It's still shit. It's so hard to communicate via Tumblr. It's so hard to send private messages back and forth. But it's great for what you're able to do with it. I love that I'm able to have one, and I also like it because I'm able at that point to kind of be in the middle of this ground zero situation, and be able to kind of spread my message to the people there. Like yesterday, I happened to kind of search my name on Tumblr, and someone called me human trash. And I would respond back with, "Cool, can you just rename it like garbage or litter, just to protect my ego?" Trash is so harsh. Just why not clutter? Just clutter sounds good.
I got a message from Angry Aussie a while ago. After not even so long ago. I can't even remember what it was really about. It was just when all the manginas. I don't know how they all did this at the same time, but a bunch of guys who were obviously a bit beta and didn't really have any connection to feminism per se, all of a sudden started making videos saying, "Hey, you've all got to be feminists," and it's just like, why would you do this?
I know.
Why would you obviously just alienate a large section of your audience, whatever, like Steve Shives and all that sort of thing? But he's I can't remember exactly what he said now. Just something like, "Die in a ditch, you scum of the earth," and I'm thinking, fucking hell. Steady on.
It's one of those things too where these people, I don't know where this came from, I think what it was too is it was after Anita Sarkeesian, because this whole thing stems back to 2012. It does stem back to that. It's been 2 years, and it's been reaching this boiling point, because what it is if you look at the upper echelon of SJWs in gaming, obviously it's Sarkeesian, and she's been able to deflect so much. I mean, I would assume she's a superhero for deflection. That's her power.
I don't even know if she's necessarily deflected it herself. It's that
she's got a tactic. It's a tactic where if controversy arises, she will let it stir for a couple days, let the overzealous people tire themselves out and move on, and then she'll comment, and then it will be done. There'll be a couple more days of kind of tapered dissent, and then it will just go away. That's her. The playbook, you can almost set your clock by it. The thing with Zoe Quinn is Zoe Quinn struck back.
Yeah, that's how you know Anita Sarkeesian is a fraud. You know, that's how you know
Super intelligent
she's
one, though.
too clever. Yeah, she's obviously got a plan, and it is as exactly as you say. She does precisely that, and then all she really does is like retweet people going, "Oh, see, aren't I a victim of this person criticizing me?" Especially
Yeah.
when she's retweeting valid criticism, you idiot.
Well,
But
what I find funny was yesterday she retweeted a post from last year, like April, right? Like
mhm,
a year ago, April, and it was Repsian did this hour-long like attack on her for her first video, and this other guy did a response back to Repsian, and that's what Anita retweeted.
of course it is.
And so I just found that to be so odd because you never see her directly address criticism. It's always via proxy if it happens at all.
Yeah.
And it's like I was talking about this with someone else yesterday about she did a panel for the Gamer X2 event with Carolyn Pettit and somebody else, and it was her at the most candid we've ever seen her, and it was still careful and calculated, but she was a little more open. And the question of the whole 4chan raid came up, or like, did she spam 4chan to promote her campaign? And her response was, and I'm saying this absolutely verbatim, why would I do that? Never once did she say I didn't do that.
Yeah.
It was implied, heavily implied, but she
Yeah.
never said I didn't do that. She said, why would I do that? Right? And that was taken as, oh, obviously she didn't do it. This is the kind of behavior that these people engage in.
Well, one thing with Anita Sarkeesian that's really clever with her tactics is that she has loads of mangina supporters, male suck-up supporters, who she doesn't need to defend herself. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Every time someone criticizes her, I see Bob fucking Chipman going, "Oh, whatever his fucking excuse for her is." He always comes out with something, and like you say, then someone else will fight the battle for her. She can just watch it unfold, probably with her fingers steepled, and then retweet a couple of juicy, "Aren't I? I'm so hard done by. Thank God everyone gives me loads of money." But the thing is, this kind of holier than thou attitude that she then affects with it validates the social justice warriors. I think, I think that's for them is like, right, yeah, everything we say is completely correct because they got offended after we did X, Y, or Z, and
Yeah.
and so yeah, you're absolutely right. She's absolutely right at the top, and she's not going anywhere on her own, I don't think.
Well, the thing with her too, and this is going to kind of be funny, is she's largely irrelevant at this point.
Yeah.
She is. I mean, she's still a name. She'll release a video, which I know she tweeted out a photo the other day of that. I don't follow her directly, but people retweet her all the time in my feed, and so like I'll see things here and there. But it's coming, and so it's kind of like the initial let's brace for the inevitable shitstorm. But you've got like certain things too where like she'll do these things. There'll be 1 or 2 days of commentary from people, and then it'll go away because at this point it's been a year and a half since the first video came out. It's been a full 2 years and 2 months since the campaign ended. It was originally supposed to start 2 years ago. This is where you realize people have now just gone, okay, you're dragging things out. You're becoming George R.R. Martin. You're dragging things out.
Yeah. And I think it's the fact that she's impervious to conversation as well. She's not even interested in talking really.
No.
I don't see her having a back and forth very much on Twitter. Maybe 1 line or 2 lines. But she never has conversations on Twitter. It's all done behind the scenes, and so she's very. I'm actually picturing her a lot more like the British Queen, where she's just this figurehead. She's always going to be there doing her feminist frequency series until the end of time, and she'll put out one every 3 months or whatever, just to make sure that every 3 months or so she says something that pisses people off. But I think everyone really has realised that it's pointless talking to her because she's a figurehead. She's not a driving force. None of these ideas come from her. That's the thing.
Let's be brutally honest here. 100% brutally honest. She's damseled herself, and that's a fact. She is up in that tower, at her own request, at her own ideas. And then she's got the circling dragon of her I don't like the term manginas, but of
No. We're the circling dragon, and Bob Chipman is Super Mario jumping over, whatever. I never actually played Super Mario. I always played Sonic, but
son of a bitch, how the fuck have you never played Mario?
Oh no, I have played it.
No, I'm kidding.
I have played it, but it was always around friends' houses. And to be honest
with you, because I was a Nintendo kid. I never owned a Sega until a Dreamcast, and I feel that system got unduly shit on.
I swear to God, I was always pissed off because I always wanted a Nintendo, but for some reason my parents had bought me the Mega Drive, and it was fine. I had good game. I was Street Fighter 2 and stuff, so that was good. And I had plenty of good games, but I never had Mario, and I always did want it. And so whenever I was like in my cousin's house or something, that I get to have a blast on it for a couple of hours, but it was never really, I never really got into it like everyone else because I just didn't really have the time. One day I'm going to buy an old SNES and just
here's the thing: buy a Wii U first off because people need to. They're not selling very well, and they're going to be releasing Mario Maker, I think, next year, which is basically going to be like Little Big Planet, but for Mario. You can make your own Mario levels. Yeah. So the concept of being able to come home from work and have like hundreds of new fan-made Mario levels is actually pretty awesome to me.
That is cool as fuck.
Imagine coming home and being able to have like hundreds of fan-made Sonic levels. That would be amazing too, right?
I'm part of the PC Master Race, man. I always have been. Even. No, seriously.
Being able to come home and finding a whole bunch of like Load Runner missions completely available.
No. I used to. My friends used to chastise me for the amount of time I used to spend making Doom 2 levels. So I'm well with you. Having a bunch or being able to make a bunch of levels is just the coolest thing ever. I love sort of community-made stuff because the cream always rises to the top.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too is in consoles because of the PC Master Race. I fucking hate that term. The PC has been able to. I can't use this straight face. PC has been able to mod things for a long time, and that's generally the go-to argument for the PC Master Race. Yeah. Is we can do things you console peasants can't do at all.
Exactly.
And I'm like, yeah, but if it wasn't for us console peasants, you fuckers wouldn't be here. So.
What do you mean we fuckers wouldn't be here?
And really? Come on! In the early 2000s, PC gaming was effectively dead. It was effectively dead.
The first-person shooter has never died, and it's never going to die. No, the first-person shooter and the real-time strategy are the PC's dominion because we have mice.
I will just. I'm making the statement now. I can do better with a controller than you can do with a mouse keyboard on a first-person shooter.
I don't believe you.
I'm not even making that up, dude. I'm hardcore like that. I'm a thug, okay?
Dude, Soldier of Fortune 2, I used to nail it. You don't know how dangerous that thing is.
I will say I had Soldier of Fortune on the Dreamcast when that came out. Because my computer couldn't play Soldier of Fortune. So I picked it up on the Dreamcast when it came out. And I played the fuck out of that game. I learned every single one of the 16 bullet points you could hit or the damage points. I would like dismember bodies. I mean, it was pretty sadistic. I'm not gonna lie. But the thing is, that's why I'm looking.
In Soldier of Fortune 2 on the PC though, you had to be so quick. I actually wasn't as good as I'd like to think I was because you literally it was so sharp. The AK had such great accuracy and fantastic range that. And there were certain levels that were corridor based as well, and they were amazing, absolutely amazing. But yeah, sorry, it's just reminiscing.
No, I mean like old school gaming stuff there. I mean, it's like I would say that like EverQuest and World of Warcraft really helped kind of revitalize a lot of PC gaming, and then also Half-Life did quite a bit. But let's be fair. PC's huge resurgence, if you will, came from Steam. Turning into a publishing platform and people being able to get access to all these games, that really helped kind of give it a shot in the arm. Consoles, like for me, my PC is for work if it runs properly, and then I like to play on my consoles. But I do have some PC games that I play. I do own DayZ. I do.
I don't actually have that. I've got a friend who's got it.
My computer so I can fucking play it. Yeah. Like, that's why I'm going through this shit right now. So anyone is like, oh, MundaneMatt's a console peasant. No, fuck you. I'm actually trying to get my computer running properly so I can play PC games with you guys because I keep getting asked that question all the time. So I'm actively attempting to engage you where you want to engage with me. Yeah. So You know what? I'm putting it out there. I'm trying. Okay. I'm just having issues because I'm not tech savvy. Again, why I like consoles. Plug and play. I'm a simple American. This is what we do.
Well, I'm actually I find PC Master Race is something I use ironically, obviously, because it's a funny term. You know, console peasant, PC Master Race. I find them very amusing terms because they're horses for courses. You know, I think that they're both just as valid as each other. I just think that one does something better and the other does the other thing better. I mean, platform games on the PC are the fucking worst thing you've ever. You know, I hate them. I hate playing platform games with a keyboard. I absolutely hate it. But obviously, with a console controller, it's amazing. I don't have a console controller because I'm poor, and I don't really play those sort of games too much, to be honest. But
Yeah, I hear you.
But the PC with the keyboard and mouse, it's perfect for strategy games. You know, I mean, you need so many key maps, and for role-playing games and stuff like that, the PC it's got a lot of natural advantages. So it's just horses for courses. I think it depends what kind of games you're most into, and I'm more into sort of the strategy or first-person shooter. So
yeah, I mean, I'm a big you know, first-person shooter fan. Like I love Halo. I actually picked up Killzone Shadowfall for the PS4, and I really, really, really like it. I think it's the best Killzone game. I've even got Killzone Mercenary on the Vita, which is just awesome. Like the fact they were able to take a first-person shooter and make it as much fun as they did in a handheld platform is insane. I've always been a big FPS fan, going back to like Wolfenstein, Duke Nukem, Blake Stone for you old school peeps. You know, and so yeah, like those are the games I like to play the most. I love real-time strategy again because that's the thing too with being a gamer. We all like different kinds of games.
Yeah, but it's the competitive nature. As soon as you start talking, oh yeah, I'll take you down, sort of thing. You know, it's that kind of spirit that's that's how I know who a gamer is.
Yeah, it's like, well, yesterday I'm looking around like Reddit, and I'm looking around the PS4 subreddit, and they're like, oh, here's 35 minutes of The Witcher 3, and like here's new footage from Bloodborne, and we're going to be talking about like Metal Gear Solid 5's multiplayer on Thursday, and I was like, ooh, I'm getting excited. Like I actually got excited, and I'm like, man, that's so cool because it shows you that even though I talk about gaming all the time and the bullshit involving gaming all the time, I can just click over to an aggregate forum and look to see what's coming and get excited about it. I love that because that's why I play games. That's why I invest a lot of my time and energy into them because I have a lot of fun with them. And I hate that we live in a world right now where that concept of having fun is almost being overshadowed by the SJW movement, and they'll try to claim that it's not the case, but it kind of is.
Oh, without a doubt. Everyone, they're not going to ruin your hobby. It's like you are already ruining it with this conversation. Any time we're not talking about games is another step down in degradation of how good this could be.
Yeah, and one of the things though too is I'm just looking at one of the comments here from Sheikh Zuka, and he says we have to stand the fuck up, and take these fucks to task. And I agree, but again, when it comes to taking these people to task over these issues, your approach has to be fucking flawless.
Yeah.
Like that's the downside to it, is it has to be flawless because you have to have a well thought out, articulated argument. You can't resort to ad hominem attacks or straw man attacks or sexist stuff or bigotry or misogyny or whatever. That's the problem too, is these people are responding in the way that they feel that's best responsive, which is great because they're passionate about it. But then those responses are being used against them, and those are what people are choosing to focus on when they're making their responses. Like John Walker just tweeted out, I'm so horrified by the treatment of Zoe Quinn and the despicable hypocrisy of these foul bigots who pretend it's about quote-unquote ethics. And I'm like, no. Given the fact that just...
kidding me.
Yeah, this is what these people believe. Even though a couple years ago I got into a Twitter war with him because he sexually objectified his wife in an article, and he was like, "Oh, she told me to do it. It was okay." Right? And I'm going like, your wife told you to sexually objectify her in an article, but because a woman tells you it's okay, it's obviously 100% okay. You aren't degrading women at all. Okay, obviously there's no reasoning with you. Oh, you hired Nathan Grayson. There we go.
See, I've got Twitter up on my... I've got like my laptop set up as a second monitor, I've got Twitter on there, and it's this kind of shit that pisses me off, man. Jim Sterling. If I'm truly the worst social justice warrior you've ever come across, and he's not,
No.
but you know, come with me to the internet where I'll show you how pathetically small your world is. Why? That is such a condescending, twatish thing, right? But it doesn't stop there. Where's Bob Chipman? I saw one from him earlier, and I was just like, you're such a twat, Bob. He's just such a bellend. He really is.
It's yeah.
No, listen, okay, I've got it right. So,
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just reading. Right, okay. So the game, not a game thing, talking about Depression Quest, obviously, is really sad because the vehemence of hate reveals that the gaming scores are some folks' only meaningful accomplishment. And it's like, man, that's fucking condescending. You're probably talking to kids. You know, you're probably talking like 15-year-olds who are still in school. What kind of fucking accomplishment are you expecting them to have? You know? And
Yeah.
it's just really condescending, really negative, and really sort of shaming tactics to try and put you back in your place. How dare you criticize Bob Chipman or whoever they think they are.
And we saw that a lot with Anita Sarkeesian. How dare you speak out against her?
Exactly, and it's just like it's this bullshit that pisses me off, and it really does, and it's down to that innate bigotry, you know. So, fuck me.
I think it's these people with like liberal arts degrees that just went fuck it. You know, it's like what am I doing with my life? I got this degree in gender studies. I'm gonna write about video games. But I've talked about this too. There's the thing too where it's like the traditional journalism world has been shrinking because of the decrease of print, right? And so online's the way to go. So these people who enter journalism, these people who aren't gamers, enter into the journalism world because these are the jobs that are available. And they start talking about something they don't care about.
Yeah.
And you can tell they don't care about because the verbiage that they use, some of the things that they say are not indicative of the culture that they are attempting to speak to and represent.
It's more than that though. It's the I mean, some of them do like games, some of them do, but they're just. I don't really understand the sort of the mindset of social justice warriors. They've just got this kind of. I mean, they just come out swinging so hard from the start, as if the people who, before social justice warriors came along. You had attacks on the gaming industry from like the people worried about violence and that, but there were no statistics to prove it, and they weren't necessarily dyed-in-the-wool ideologues against the people that they were trying to talk to. And so when the people they were trying to talk to was like, look, we've got these statistics, everything seems fine. In fact, it could well be that it's preventing crime just for keeping kids off the fucking street. So better they stay at home and shoot people, pretend, than wander off and get into all kind of nefarious. Whatever. So, but this, it's much more than that. There's no reasoning with them. I was having that argument with Rami Ismaili or whatever his name is, and he's just like, you're making the arguments. It's like, you must be joking. You absolutely must be joking because you literally have just been saying. I mean, he literally said, right, I don't know anything about it. I don't have any facts. And then, he was like, I saw that Internet Aristocrat video, or I don't think he said the name, but that's the video he meant. And he was like, I just, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was blathering nonsense. And then I started confronting him, and he was like, well, the facts I have say this, this, and this. And it's like, you just said you don't have any facts. And then you watch this video, and obviously you must come to the conclusion that, this is a serious problem with nepotism and corruption. He's like, oh, well, nepotism, that's everyone's new word, isn't it? It's like, it's only because it's appropriate, you twat.
It's not new either.
No, it's not new, obviously, but this is the word of the moment that he's hearing repeatedly because that is exactly what has happened. It precisely sums up exactly what's happened. And in the end, it was just flat denial. No, you're not making an argument. You're not making an argument. It's like, really, there is no argument being made. Internet Aristocrat wasn't making an argument. I'm not making an argument with my figures. There's no evidence. There's no proof. And it's, he's just convinced that anything in the videos isn't true. And that is the mindset that we're dealing with. And if it's a mindset that isn't prepared to accept reality, that's the thing. It's not prepared to accept reality. And so where do you go from there? You can't. I mean, Internet Aristocrat was saying, like, we need to hold them to task. And it's like, I fully agree. If if it was possible to hold these people to task, I would be all over it. You know, I'd be like, yeah. I mean,
Well,
that's
the
what I'm
thing
trying to
is,
do on
it's not
Twitter.
people.
But
It's
they just don't want to listen. They just don't want to talk to you. They're not interested in your opinion because it's coming from you. You know?
That's true. What you need to remember though is it's not about these people. Okay, those people are so embroiled in their own batshit insane
Yeah.
ideologies that they're not going to listen to reason, even when it's smack dab. You could walk up with like a huge old pile of reason and evidence and cock slap them in the face with it and just go, look, you cannot deny that this exists. You know,
Yeah.
it kind of be like what is it? Ahmadinejad from Iran was saying like Holocaust never happened. You know, if you walk up to him and go like, here is all this empirical evidence, Holocaust happened, 12 million people died, we have proof. He'll be like, no, that's
Well,
been photoshopped. I know, I've seen some shoops in my time.
that's exactly what this guy's doing. But the thing is, these are really influential people. You know, and there are a lot of people
But
who
the thing is,
listen to
that's it. We need to remove their influence.
Yeah,
And that's the
absolutely.
thing is that you can't go after them directly because they're so ingrained in their ideology. You need to start targeting people that are like the moderates or the incumbents that don't necessarily know all what's going on and are easy to get caught up in the fray. There are people. Okay, listen. Like to give you an idea, there's a particular Twitter follower of mine. I'm not going to say his name because I like him, but he tends to jump on these bandwagons, right? Like
Yeah.
he'll jump on a bandwagon and he'll start tweeting out, "Fuck those people, fuck them right in their cunt asses, kill them all," right? Shit like that. And then like I'll talk to him and I'll be like, well, what about this? And then he'll go like, oh, I really should have listened to everything you had to say. I guess
Mate,
I was wrong.
I,
You know,
I've got friends exactly like that, and I
it's,
really like them. And you know, I just 5 minutes of just being like, have you thought about that? Have you thought about this? You know, what about this? And they're like, you know what, you're actually right. And it's just like, that's the point. Zanti made a really good point just a second ago that came off my feed. I just want to mention it because it's a really good point. And he's a YouTuber himself. He's just started out, and it's worth checking out his channel. Um, he said, social justice warriors are trained in academia to fight the injustice in the world, and when they enter reality, they are prepped and armed and ready to fight, and there's no war. And
okay.
that's a really good observation.
Can we quote that somewhere? Can we put that on like a plaque and like put that in like the centerpiece of
Well,
this entire thing?
I'm gonna tweet that.
Tweet that shit. Yeah, because I wanna be able to read it. I want to check out what that. That's a really insightful thing to say.
It really is. So this is why everyone should check out his channel.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, it's very true. It's kind of like
It's a bit long for Twitter, so I'm gonna put social justice warriors are trained in academia to fight a war to fight, and when they get into the world, they find there's no war. Something like that.
if you can fit that into 140 characters.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
It's like I'm a try. Yeah, I'm a writer, motherfucker. Truncate this shit. Just don't sacrifice grammar. That's all I ask. But no, it's very true. It's very true. They go to these, and the way that they present these issues is like, they're priming their troops for battle of a war that doesn't exist. And we talked, I think I've talked about this before. They get people riled up and they want to react, and then there's nothing to react to. And so then it kind of manifests itself into this particular, like mindset that then these people, because they're looking, and Jim Sterling did say this, I think best, and I do give him credit for this. He was talking about how so many people fire their missiles indiscriminately, and they hit a multitude of targets instead of taking the time to like focus their attack on one thing. And he has a point there. But it wasn't in relation to these issues. It was in relation to like attacking developers and the industry as a whole. But it makes a lot of sense when used in this context. People are mad at Zoe Quinn for this stuff, but her actions are part of of a larger problem.
Yeah.
And that's what exactly. I think a lot of us are trying to address. And so when you get people like John Walker who say those things like, oh, they're just being foul bigots, and you're going like, no, I mean, yeah, we disagree on this. So if that's where you're using your terminology for bigot, then fine. But, the word has a different meaning to most people than what it actually means. People look at it as being like, people think that bigot is like synonymous with racist.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly what it is. Misogynist is the gender equivalent of calling someone a racist. It's
even though that's not what it means at all.
Yeah, I know, but it's the sort of Yeah, exactly. I mean, they apply it to situations where it's clearly not the case, and therefore it completely diminishes what should be the power of the word. Because I mean, when they come out saying like, "Oh, you hate all women, you're a sexist," you actively go about discriminating against women. You say, "Oh, that's a woman. I'm gonna just, I'm not gonna open the door for her, or hold it open as I'm going through, or something like that, because it's a woman." It's just like that is. It just speaks to such an evil mindset. It's the sort of just what kind of person does that? And I think it's the kind of people social justice warriors might actually be, which is why they find it so easy to project those sort of feelings onto other people. I would
Yeah.
never call someone who criticized Barack Obama, for instance, a racist. You know, I would be, even if I thought they might be, I'd look at what they're saying and then try to give them the benefit of the doubt and say maybe they just hate Obama.
No,
And maybe it's not because he's black. Maybe it's because of something that they actually are saying. Maybe there's a bit of latent racism in there, but they wouldn't be being so vehement about it if they didn't have, a thing. But I wouldn't go, I wouldn't just go straight to bam, you're a racist, disgusting racist. What a bigot this person is. That's a terrible insult.
we like to, but it's kind of like it's just such a blanket term. One of my subscribers named Izomo, you might have seen him on your videos or on Twitter. He did a video a while back talking about like the term misogynist has lost its meaning.
Hmm.
And then he was saying, like, he mentioned me directly, and he was like, "Oh, well, MundaneMatt's a misogynist because the term misogynist has now changed." He wasn't, but he was meaning it to be like, because we're friends, and he was meaning it to be like, uh, like people have been calling me that for so long, even though that's not what it means. In their mind, the terminology has changed, so this is now what it means. And that's a lot of what this stuff boils down to is these people like to use buzzwords because they sound good,
Yeah, yeah,
and
and not only that, it's got a high emotional impact. When someone
yeah.
calls you it, you can't just let that go unchallenged. You've got to respond to that rather than what they were saying previously. So their argument still stands, and then they continue to call you misogynist. So it's a very powerful debating tactic, but it is just a debating tactic. It's not valid. It's not it. There is very rarely truth in calling someone a misogynist or a racist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if I was walking around with a shirt that said "Kill all black people," holding a burning cross in one hand and a Confederate flag in the other, you feel free to call me a racist at that point.
yeah.
Like that's kind of like that would be at that point accurate to say. But I don't walk around with a shirt that says "Get back to the kitchen." Like I actually made fun of a guy the other day because he had a shirt on saying "Cool story, babe. Now make me a sandwich," and I'm like, really? Like really? And he's in the car with his wife and his children, and I'm like, oh god. And I've been seeing it more and more because there's a Walmart near my place that sells it. And it's like this is selling at Walmart. Like mothers are buying this for their sons. Like I guarantee you. It's like they think it's kind of funny. And it's just like, but then again, like I'm watching too, like because I'm so steeped in this culture, and like I talk about it all the time. Like I was watching Riddick last year, and at one point there's that line of dialogue where Riddick's like, "I'm gonna go balls deep in Katie Sackhoff over here, and she's gonna ask me all sweet like," and then I'm just like, I kind of like just lower my head and go, "Oh God, I'm now awaiting the reaction from this." But at the same time, I'm like, it was almost pointless to the context of the situation. So in those moments, like, yeah, maybe I thought about that as like maybe what they're saying is having an effect on me because I'm noticing it. And that ultimately to a lot of these people, this is what they want. They want people to notice and be aware. Okay, and that if you really break down a lot of their arguments, it boils down to that. Like when they talk about male privilege, or in my case, white cis
Oh,
male privilege,
fuck me, yeah.
which I can't fucking stand, but whatever.
Oh, that's original sin. It's part
Yeah,
of the
I know.
religion, isn't
Like
it?
yeah, it's like I'm pretty sure if life originated in Africa, Adam and Eve were probably darker skin tone. So there's that. But so original
No, no, no.
sin.
I saw someone. I saw a feminist put a video. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Claudia Bolin. Have you ever heard of her?
Oh God,
I
yeah.
like Claudia. I actually like her as a person. I'm not a
I've
fan.
seen some of her stuff. I've seen some of her more like
She,
inflammatory videos, like get
yeah,
posted around like I think like 4chan.
yeah. She's not. She just seems like too simplistic. I don't think she's actually a bad person. Um, but she was like, look, all you have to do is just say you're sorry. And it's like, look, I haven't done anything wrong. You want me to say I'm sorry because I look like some guys who lived before I was born and they did something wrong. Maybe. You know.
Yeah,
So
that cracks me up. The whole
you know,
I'm sorry.
I'm not just saying I'm sorry. Why would I do that? That's original sin. That's literally original sin. You've got to continue to repent for it your whole life. Fuck yourselves.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I get told that too. I get told that too. Like you just apologize. That's all you got to do is just apologize. Like what is this? Like the feminist inquisition? You
Yeah,
know? Like it's just if I don't apologize, you're going to kill me. Is
yeah.
is this what is this what it is?
Oh, you
This
get
because it's
branded a
kind of what it feels like,
misogynist.
right? And I know someone's going to take that too. MundaneMatt says this is the feminist inquisition. It's cake or death. Cake or death. You know,
I've already
but
made a video called that.
I'm sure it's just it very much feels like that. It's like here's these people that are coming out demonizing you for being a certain way, even though you're not.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I was like I said, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day who's Indian, and you know, and we're talking, and he goes like he's like I recognize that I've got my male privilege, you know, that certain things are different for me for being a male. And then I looked at him and I'm all like, okay, sure, I'll go with you on that argument, but let me ask you this. Don't you feel that if feminists that were saying like to check your male privilege, that they bitch and moan about men who are in positions of power and they want them to be allies, but they try to get them to do that through shaming tactics? Wouldn't it be better to just kind of acknowledge the fact that you are a straight male, and that they want you to be on their side? Like, you catch more flies with honey sort of thing. Like, that's why I made that video about, hey, feminists, can you make me an ally? Right? Like, can you
Yeah.
present to me this argument that would turn me into an ally? Because you obviously are going about this the wrong way. And I actually, believe it or not, I hadn't gotten any valid response to that until last night. And it was about like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I got an email from this user, and it was, yeah, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and she sends me a fucking novel, right? A fucking novel. There's like at least 20 paragraphs here. And I'm looking at it right now, but she says, I really encourage you to do some reading on feminist theory, e.g. Andrea Dworkin. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. You're telling me, look, I mean, I appreciate this.
Andrea fucking
Trying to convert me to their cause. Because I put the call out there. I put the
She's
call out
the
there.
world's biggest man hater. She's like where
Right.
the man hatred comes from.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, you're telling me first off the bat, you want me to read feminist theory from a second wave feminist who championed the term all PIV sex is rape. I'm done.
Yeah, that's the end
I
of the
happen to
conversation.
enjoy PIV sex, and I don't want to have it in the back of my mind, like, oh yeah. Oh my God, am I raping you? Oh my God, are you okay? Have you been violated? I mean, I know I've literally penetrated you, but have I violated you in any way? I mean, come on, like, do I need like every 2 seconds to get a consent form during sex to prove that it's not
Yeah.
rape? I mean, this is the mindset that these people are operating on.
Imagine how unsexy it is to have sex with Lacey Green. Just
Well,
every
there's
5 minutes.
there's a lot of excess body hair, which I mean, and some people like that, so I'm not shaming her for it. That's her deal. Me personally, I try to make sure I don't like excess body hair on anyone.
You know what? Fuck it. Lacey Green, I'm shaming you. Shave, you hairy bitch.
You know, I mean, it's like, yeah, you know, I mean, I shave my pits because I live in Southern California and it's hot and smell ends up in the hair, and I don't like smell. I don't like bad smell. That's just how I am. But people, if they want to be hairy, you know, they can do that and shit. That's all on them.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
their
care
choice.
about
It
that
doesn't
at all.
matter. Just don't tell me. I don't care. You know, I don't want to hear about how hairy someone's pits are. You know what I mean, Lacey? Don't make videos about it, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, it's
What?
it's stupid, but this is the mindset. Is like they're trying to say, and I've said this before too, and I was keep meaning to kind of do a video about this. But when they talk about like that whole aspect of the hair shaming and whatnot, it sets to like the standard of beauty, right? Is what they're generally referring to. And Lacey and others have talked about like because I was talking when I was with my sister in Seattle. She's a big Lacey Green fan, and believe me, that was a conversation. Because she sends me Lacey Green videos like, oh, have you seen this? Like, she makes some really good points.
Is your sister a
like,
feminist, did you say?
My sister is a Tumblr feminist.
So my sister's a Tumblr feminist.
Yes, fucking, and I'm like, you're 22 years old. Her boyfriend is a really nice guy, but he's very much a beta. You know, he's very much like but it's his upbringing that did that. Yeah. He was in the foster system, so he didn't have a family, and so he's kind of got like my sister's affection. So it's just and it doesn't really matter. The point is, like,
no, my sister's got a very similar dynamic with her boyfriend.
Yeah, so it is. And the thing is, he's a good guy. I like him. He's actually introduced me to a lot of new games I haven't heard of, and he keeps sending me links to animes to watch. So that's cool. I don't mind him at all.
But I'm
And
not prepared to live as like a subservient in a feminist paradise, though.
No, but my sister may talk about this stuff, but in reality, she's not. Like she talks more about like she's very superficial in it, I should say. You
Yeah.
know, she's very much of the mindset like she went to college, she got her culinary degree, she's trying to work in that. That's what she wants to do. She's taking her life by by the scrote, if you will, and she's doing it her own way. And I'm only proud of her for that
Yeah.
actually, because she's not relying on somebody else to get something. She's doing it on her own. And so as for being her older brother, I'm super, super proud of her for that. Now, her personal views on politics and certain things, we share a lot of those in terms of some things. But when she starts talking about, like, she starts reposting shit like some of the stuff from feminism and whatever, I have to kind of take her to task on it. And we talked about the standard of beauty when I was up there. And I told her, I'm like, the male standard of beauty, I think, is a term that's no longer accurate, because who runs these magazines? Who
Yeah.
sells these magazines to other women? It's women. And so these are the ones that are pushing this particular body type. And then as a result, men are being affected by it because they're being told that's what the standard of beauty is, and that if they like something that's not that, then they're wrong, right? Like, everyone comes in all shapes, all sizes.
I've never really been like I've never really found supermodels very attractive. You know.
I don't like emaciated chicks.
Yeah, I like tits, man. I
mean,
like
I like a curvy woman, and I mean, when I say curvy, I mean like curvy, not a curve.
Yeah.
There's got to be that. There's a shape there. No, I'm not saying no fat chicks.
That's the thing.
Actually,
I think that it's kind of become divorced from really what men want these days, and I think that's probably a good thing, to be fair, because it's just, I just look at these magazines and I'm looking at these women in these, like, when I'm waiting for my haircut or something, we're in this woman's thinking, I don't understand what any of them are getting at this. That is not what I want necessarily a woman to look like, wearing weird clothes and all this sort of shit. Just be normal, for Christ's sake, just be normal.
Well, and that's when, like, you have like Dove's bot, I think every woman or every shape or something marketing ad, and I actually support that. I do support that, because that's taking. I mean, granted, they're selling a fantasy with the other stuff, but I'm okay with them selling the concept that this is what real women look like. But in America, obesity is a thing, and and that's what pisses me off about the fat acceptance movement, is they go like, oh, obesity is not something that we can control. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, don't that bullshit,
Like, I mean, that's a whole other argument for a whole other day.
Yeah, but that's actually my point. If it was like normal people on billboards, I'd be completely fine with it, and I would totally be on their side. But wanting to have like fat chicks in their underwear on these giant billboards, I don't want to see that every fucking day. I just don't. I mean, I'm not thin, and I wouldn't want pictures of myself naked on these billboards, and I would feel bad for other people looking at them. So, and then you've got these morbidly obese women. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to have these as like adverts on Facebook. I'm thinking, fuck yourself. I don't want to be browsing Facebook and then fat chicks popping up everywhere.
The thing is, though, like, and ultimately too, it's like we're men. We find, we want to be sold things by attractive people. Women want to be sold things by attractive people. Women are more critical of themselves than men are. I mean, of each other than men are. Like, women spend all this time getting dressed, getting prepared for these things, and they say that it's for men. And I'm like, I think that you're taking the wrong approach. There's nothing wrong with getting dolled up so you feel good about you. And they try to take that away. They really do try to take that away. Like, well, I have to dress this way for men. No, you don't. You really don't. Because all men know that under makeup, you're not going to look like you look. I mean, we may look at Katy Perry and excessively masturbate to Katy Perry. Not me.
I think this is
other people named Matt. That guy in the comments named Porygon Fanatics. That dude right there masturbates constantly to Katy Perry. But then there's like the photo that Russell Brand tweeted out of her asleep, with no makeup on and no eyebrows, and it's like that. Like, that's a totally different view of Katy Perry. I think she's attractive regardless. I happen to find her attractive. I've seen her without makeup. I still think she's cute. I mean, we all have different attractions, and that's great. But when you look at these things, and it kind of harkens back to gaming too, it's like we all have different tastes. And when people market and advertise things to particular tastes, and that someone doesn't like, then they get on that crusade. And that's kind of where we're at too. It's like, is these social justice warriors in gaming don't like the tastes of other people that aren't 100% in line with what they like.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, one of the things about makeup that always baffled me is how any feminist can ever wear makeup. I find that incredible. I mean, if I was told like you only play first-person shooters because you've been conditioned by some outside force, and if I was like, no, I'm not conditioned by this outside force. I'm absolutely not. I'm not brainwashed by the patriarchy, whatever feminists say to other women who don't believe in the patriarchy. Um, the only way I would be able to know that I wasn't being brainwashed by the patriarchy is to not do the thing that is in question. You can't ever actually wear makeup and think, am I doing this for myself, or do I just not know that I'm doing this because the patriarchy is making me? And so the only way to know that you're not being coerced by the patriarchy into buying the makeup is to not wear makeup and not buy it. So no feminist has ever got any kind of logical excuse to wear makeup because they can never be sure that they're not being brainwashed by the patriarchy.
Yeah, it's kind of they have a weird like monkey on their back as a result of that, and
Yeah.
it's also kind of like a demon, like an unseen demon, you know. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
are they watching? Or like they act like patriarchy's big brother, you know.
Yeah.
Like patriarchy has got cameras in every part of their room, and they watch them, and then if they do the wrong thing, they're gonna get like zapped with a taser. Like, do it right, you know. We are
They
the
always
patriarchy.
they always know what the patriarchy wants, though.
Yeah, I
And
know.
oh, no, don't do that. The patriarchy wants you to do that. It's like, what are you
But then you
talking
look at it
about?
and you go, but what if the patriarchy doesn't want me to do this and they want
Exactly.
me not to do it
Dun dun
because of
dun.
patriarchy? And then you're just like, patriarchy inception. Dun, dun,
It's
dun.
conspiracy theory on conspiracy theory, isn't it? It's like Princess Bride, where he's just like, no, I'll know that you've done that, so I can't drink that one. And you've got, and it just goes on to this loop of just like, oh my god, how deep does it go? And you can never be sure. That's the thing. And the only way to know that they're wearing makeup for themselves or not is to not wear the makeup.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it drives me crazy when Anita Sarkeesian's there with her lipstick, her eyeliner, and her hoopy earrings, complaining about the patriarchy. And it's like, you're playing into its hands, love. You're actively going along with it.
It really is. It really is. And it's just this thing that's been like brewing and brewing, and we can laugh about it, but it's like there are people that take this shit like, okay, okay. I want everyone to know who's watching right now, whether it's live or whatever.
Yeah, it is.
We take this shit. Well, I mean, later on, it's gonna be archived on your channel.
Yeah,
we take this shit seriously, but we have to joke about it because we have to show you the absurdity of it. And this is where the other side of things, the people that were commenting on, the ones that are trying to say that we're just being bigots and sexist and misogynists and all of these things, they don't have a sense of humor about anything. They literally live their life in this hatred-filled bubble. And I don't get it, because that's no way to live your life. If you're constantly negative and constantly looking for things to demonize and attack to make you feel better about whatever substandard set of living you've got going on, it's bullshit. Like, the fact that we can sit here and talk about elements of gaming and still get excited about that shows you that gaming is not evil.
Yeah.
That the stuff that they preach and that they lie about and that they distort and manipulate is them trying to make up for shortcomings in their own existence and project that onto you. These people, I'm not even making this up, these people need counseling. They need severe, like multiple times a week counseling to get to the root of this problem. And because they're telling us that it's us, or it's you, but no, it's really them. They are the problem,
This is what I said, in 50 years' time or 30 years' time, what are they going to be like? This is what I was trying to say. It was like there is something wrong with these people, to think that the entire world is engaged in some vast conspiracy against them. But you can never pin it down because it's the mysterious patriarchy, but it's there, and everyone is either part of it or doesn't know they're part of it, and all this sort of stuff. And it's just like you get to a point when, if it's everywhere, like you said, maybe you're the weakling, you're the only consistent thing in this story. It's you. Wherever you go, you find sexism there. Wherever you go, you find sexism there. Wherever you go, you find sexism there. And it's like, right, okay, now it's the point. I want to start looking at the social justice warriors. They're the fruitcakes.
Yeah. Yeah, these are like, these are people. It's like Zoe Quinn just tweeted out to like a what is it, like 54
I don't
minutes.
actually follow her, I don't think.
I don't, but people were tweeting about her, and I was like, I'll check her profile. And she says, like, for what it's worth, my irritation with, quote, parasitic YouTube personalities, end quote, was with a gross MRA contingent, not total biscuit. I thought that was kind of funny.
Oh, so she's talking about Internet Aristocrat then.
Or, well, I think she's talking about me. But, no,
wow.
I think she might be talking about Internet Aristocrat, me, and Repsian, because she first tweeted out the parasitic YouTube personalities around 9 p.m. last night, which is when Repsian's video went live. And so that was like a lot of stuff right there.
Yeah,
so it's a big thing. It's a big to do at the moment, But with this situation too, kind of bringing it all back and everything, this is not about abuse. This is not about people trying to silence Zoe Quinn. This is not about people trying to attack her and her work, regardless of what you may think about it. This is us saying we want transparency, as I said before. This stuff needs to be disclosed. And when you get responses like parasitic YouTube personalities that are just simply asking the questions, and yes, it might be based off of something that is personal information being put out there, but the question still stands because there's enough evidence, be it anecdotal and real, that begs the answers, right? And so when those questions are asked in that regard, it gets a big response. Like someone told me last night that only a child would think that there are questions that haven't been answered yet.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
And I'm like, I don't believe that's the case, because
how can you think that? How can
it's just people saying like, she's like, oh, she answered all the questions. No, she didn't. We want to know, like, again, we just want like people like Grayson and other people to come together and say, look, we're just admit you're friends. That's it.
What gets me about it is that it's so obvious and it's all so out in the open. It's also well linked. It's this is what everyone needed. This is why everyone, it's all of the problems with social justice and the video game press have come together in this one example, and they refuse to admit any of it's a problem. And it's just like, look, if that's the case, what can we do now? Because obviously they're not interested in talking. They're just going to continue either lying or being in denial. So,
well, what they're trying to say now is they're trying to say that people who are commenting on this is a vocal minority. And I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to say no. No, this is what Nathan Grayson is attempting to say right now, is that it's a vocal minority of people that are talking about this, and they're engaged in an abuse-filled hatred campaign and shit. Yeah, whatever. I fucked up saying that. But it's like, that's what they're trying to do. And it's like, no, this is not a vocal minority. 500,000 views in a day is not a vocal minority.
Yeah, no, that's a depth of feeling there. That's struck a chord with a lot of people, and that's exactly the point. We need to be looking at like slightly bigger picture, because I really don't think these people are ever coming back to the light. I think that they've doubled down on their just mental disorders, on their autism, and they've just like I think this is the point where they literally say, look, we're not going to change. We're not going to concede anything. We're not going to give you an inch. So what are we going to do? There's no point like talking to them, because they're not.
Here's something too. John Walker just posted a blog post on his own blog just a little bit ago, and he's recanting the situation. Okay, and he's saying like he's saying basically, I have it in front of me. Yeah, I will link it to you in the chat description.
Well, do you want to read a few quotes out of it?
Oh yeah, okay. Let me just look through this here. He says, I'll just read the first like 2 paragraphs. Okay. He says here, in the wake of another really horrifying social media attack on a few individuals, some I know, some I don't, I find myself needing to process the way it works, the awfulness of what is done, and just how frighteningly proficient are the organized attackers. In this particular story, an angry ex-boyfriend has made public a huge screed of personal information about his former girlfriend, along with a list of accusations. These accusations crossed my path when they included claims that someone I employed had behaved inappropriately. There was no evidence provided for these claims, and indeed no examples of the suggested corruption have ever existed. I assume much else was untrue or twisted too. It's absolutely none of my business. What I was in a position to know about, I knew was entirely false. And they talk about her being doxxed later on or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But of course, at no point in time in this entire debate, entire thing, has there been any kind of mention of false copyright claims, which is what sparked this entire thing. And I'm not trying to put myself on this victim pedestal. I'm really honestly not.
No, it's the attempt to silence, though. It's the attempt
to silence and the pure just overlooking of it now.
Well, that's what I mean. All of this has come together. You know, the attempt to silence, the corruption, the nepotism, the very questionable social justice morals, the vitriolic response from people on Twitter. You know, this cabal on Twitter sort of thing. You know, and just all of these tactics is all perfect in this example. So, someone made a good point a minute ago. We need to create like a viewer-funded media, and I think that's a good idea. Cause, I mean, I don't know if anyone's familiar with Red Letter Media, but they've got a Patreon, and so they get excuse me, they get X amount a month, and I guess people look at it as like a voluntary subscription. You know,
it is. I mean, I have a Patreon.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like funny thing, I don't make a lot of money on there. I think I just went up to like $31 a month, which is so awesome. So whoever out there is pledged, thank you. I've never expected to get more than like $2, but that's so awesome. I'm so happy. Thank you guys very much. But yeah, it's a lot like that. It's like these kind of things too. It's like, but that's where you've got this conflict too. You've got Zoe Quinn. This is weird. She's got a job. She's got like 3 jobs right now.
Just to finish that point though, what I mean is.
I'm sorry. Yes, go right ahead.
That's all right. I'm thinking like, if a site like specifically started where they didn't have adverts and their entire business model was built on voluntary payments from Patreon, and then they were literally attracting their audience and their patrons, people who'd view it, you know, and you could just pay like a couple of dollars a month, you know, like you would maybe get a magazine or whatever once a month sort of thing. And you don't have to sort of thing, but this is how I'd envisage it working. Because it would be very similar to like Dan Carlin's podcast. He works on, and I know I talk about him a lot, but I absolutely love the guy and I recommend him to everyone. But he works on like a donation basis. He does have adverts, but if you know he doesn't have Patreon, that's the thing. And so you could have either donations and a Patreon to run this video game website that would then be exactly controlled by the people reading the content and, you know, committed enough to do it. And I think that would really be a step forward if people wanted to support a press that was actually independent of large media and open.
But let's be perfectly blunt here about one factor. People hate spending money. And the amount of money it costs. I mean, people who support being Patreon is really awesome. I'm not trying to discredit that whatsoever. But one of the issues that comes from it all, from what I've understood for the past couple of years of doing this, is people want a lot of this content for free. Not everyone. Some people are willing to support financially or by turning off ad block and things like that. But a lot of people, they're under this assumption that these journalists, these critics, if you will, that they don't get paid. And again, it's like, as much as I talk shit about games journalism, these people do deserve to get paid for the work, even if I don't read it.
Yeah, but I think that you're actually looking at it with like an old media business model. Because let me make a point a sec. I agree that a lot of people are. I'm not gonna pay any money if I don't have to. And I think the people who are like that are the more laissez-faire sort of viewers. They're the ones who aren't really that bothered, and you know, if they can get it for free, they will do. They'll spend their time on it, but they won't spend their money on it. But I think that if you've got a strong foundation, like if you were to literally pride yourself on the integrity and unbiased position of your journalism, then I think a lot of people, especially in the current climate, would actually go out of their way to support you. If I had more money, I would definitely do. You know, even if it was just like £1 a month or something. It's, you know, if 1,000 people do it, you know, that's quite a lot. And then if 10,000 people do it, that's, you know, getting somewhere. And if their readership is like you said with some of these other ones, like 500,000 a month, I mean, you know, you don't have to pledge much, and it's voluntary. You know, no one's forcing you. and it's all dependent on how much you appreciate the content. And if they're producing good content, I think that you'll probably, especially in a climate like this, in like the sort of political climate, I really think that if someone did it, they'd probably be able to make it fly. You know.
Well, yes, I do agree, and I will admit that I do approach a lot from the old media perspective, but that's where I got my training.
Yeah,
Was a lot of
that's
the
not
old media perspective.
that wasn't necessarily a criticism.
Sorry, I get hit a lot from people that are just like that whole staunch like I turn on ad block, I do all this, and I'm like, look, I get that, but it's just you get hit with a lot of it sometimes, so you get kind of like the people like their attitude is kind of like okay, whatever. I think that I think that if someone was able to put together like you have this gather your party, which I think is kind of like the best bet, and even red letter media, because you can't just have one source. It would need to be kind of multiple sources to give you.
Of course, I'm thinking of a business model really.
Yeah. It's the thing I see though is like this was a big boom back in the early 2000s. People were, because they realized that gaming was coming itself up, was bringing itself up, and it's like I talked about in that video about the bullshit in gaming. 10 years ago, Uwe Boll was able to purchase the rights to all these franchises for pennies on the dollar because no one cared, right? Like outside of just the core niche of gaming, no one cared. But now we're in this thing where it's a huge market, and it goes to so many different facets of our life. And so everyone 10 years ago started to see this change, this paradigm shift, and they wanted to jump on it. And you'd be amazed at how many sites got just folded into other sites, and how many shut down, and how many were just unable. Because when I was working for the site that I was working for, we had advertisements up. None of the reviewers were paid. None of us who did work there were paid. And we actually had Reddit's upvote downvote model before Reddit even came out, which is so funny.
See, I'm not trained in journalism whatsoever. I just know what questions to ask. I think, and I think.
Go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say?
Oh, a lot of us. I mean, I'm not trained in journalism. I come from media production background, and then I follow the business models of Hollywood.
But you've been in the industry.
I very much
by the industry.
Yeah. So earlier when we're talking about numbers, I very much follow numbers.
Yeah.
And it's everything. Yeah. Some people do, some people don't. I'm like notoriously horrible for that, but you've got that kind of thing going on. And then
if I had to give you some advice, I would say don't worry about the numbers so much.
I hear that too.
Yeah,
that's
my advice to you.
Debate with people about like what movies are profitable, because they keep saying like they'll go, "Oh, Spider-Man 2 was a flop," and I'm going, that word does not mean what you think it means. I'm like, anyway. Yeah, my friends troll me with that too. They troll me with that because they know it get a rise out of me. But so yeah, you've got these people out there that want to jump in, and the thing is, these are people like you, like me, like even Jordan Owen or Internet Aristocrat or Repsian that are people that are trying to grow these audiences where we can maybe change opinion. And
let me put a proposal to you, right?
Okay.
If, say, Internet Aristocrat tomorrow put out a video saying, look, I've started a Kickstarter to start a video game journalism website of which I will be the editor-in-chief or whatever, and it's going to cost, say, I don't know how much to set up thing. I mean, a few years ago, I calculated on one of the British Bank's websites how much you would need to borrow from the bank to start a bookstore, and it was £12,000, which is probably about $20,000. How quickly do you think he could raise that? I mean, you wouldn't need that much to start a video game website, but especially if you were going via Patreon, you wouldn't need that much at all, I don't think. But assuming, say you went for $20,000, how long, and he put out, one of his, all his videos are excellent, but one of his, moral point videos, like the last one, like, look, this is the Fifth Estate fucking up, which it is, and, we need to organize and create somewhere that can actually be honest about these things and that can grow. And that would, just the Kickstarter, think how much coverage that would get. He's huge. I would probably pledge. I'd dig out a few pennies just to throw it in there because it would be a cause I believe in, and I think a lot of people would go for it. I really think it. I think it's something that could have legs.
I think we're at a point where this is going to be an alternative, but I don't think it's going to be a direct website. What I think would be better served would be a YouTube channel that's dedicated to creating news content. That's what I think would be better served.
Well, I think that would be part of it. I mean, you definitely have your own YouTube channel for the site.
Because I've honestly thought about creating a Roku channel, because Roku is in a very emerging market right now. People are cord cutting constantly and they're looking for new things, but on Roku there's no dedicated gaming channel. I was looking at what it would cost me per month to set up just a service on there, a TV station or just a station on the Roku channels about gaming, and what it would take for me to do that. And it really wouldn't cost much, maybe like $50-$60 a month.
The problem isn't the problem with videos is that they're videos. I mean that's obviously I mean they're two separate. People consume them at different times. Someone on their lunch break or something will sit there and flick through video game websites, and when someone at home like doing something, playing video game, playing on their console or something, watch YouTube videos and stuff like that. So I think that they would be complementary to each other.
No, I do think you are correct, because there is a definite need for both. I've got Feedly on my phone, and so I'll be flipping through like the different gaming articles and whatever, and then that's how I look for like stuff to talk about. I can just like really thumb through headline after headline real quick to see what's going on. But then there's times that I'm sitting at home, I don't have cable TV in my place at all. I watch Netflix, I watch Hulu. And I'm a cord cutter. I have been for the last 4 years. I have no desire to have TV.
Can I just address some of the comments that have come up?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that guy T, come on. I really don't see Internet Aristocrat turning into Cenk from the Young Turks.
No.
He says, I don't want another Young Turks. And it's like, I can't imagine it'd happen. I can't imagine that'd happen.
I don't think... the thing with IA is very anti-establishment.
Yeah.
And he's actually looking to get out of the country. So he's, I think, moving to I want to say Thailand or somewhere in that area very soon. So why he doesn't turn ads on his fucking videos is beyond me. He paid for everything. With this video going as viral as he'd make like a couple $1,000.
Yeah, yeah.
I
just want to grab a few of the other ones as well.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. You probably would need less than $20,000. Jirakan says he's got experience making it, so might want to talk to him, because I mean, Internet Aristocrat's a great journalist. His research is excellent, so I would trust his judgment on these things. If you guys have experience, I'd talk to him about it. Sorry, there's another one. Dead Agent said, make it a Patreon-funded website. Shit, I just lost it now.
Well, didn't Penny Arcade do that, where they were like, we want to remove advertisements, and they made like $2 million or something?
I don't know, but that's the point, though. If the site ever gets corrupted, that the funding disappears, which...
But then at the same time, the downside to Patreon is it's people who donate a lot of money could come in and say, well, I want this done a particular way, or I'm going to remove my funding. And if they donate a lot of money, you get kind of strong-armed into doing that, which is why, honestly... That's a fear for a lot of people.
You could just have a policy of making all Patreon messages public or something. You could. I mean, the purpose of the website is to take these, sort of influencers out. So the people supporting probably aren't going to be supporting with very much, but there'll be a large number of them. So I suppose if it becomes corrupted and a couple of people start donating large amounts of money, that could happen, but. We can't say, oh well, it might not be perfect, so let's not bother doing anything.
No, I'm not saying. I think that there's a lot of instead of building one from the ground up, what I think would be better served would be finding one that's already attempting and putting focus and effort behind that. Because then at that point the infrastructure. What?
I'm not against that.
Okay, yeah, I just feel like that might be. It's a lot easier. Take it from a person who's attempted to get several movies off the ground and have only a couple actually come to fruition. A lot of projects start and fail very early on.
No, I've had a successful Kickstarter. I'm well aware of how much work all of these things are. And we had one for our game. This thing, I'm not talking from a position of ignorance on this.
No, I definitely don't think you are.
I really don't think it's beyond the group of people we literally have in this chat room to coordinate between themselves if they felt motivated to do so, and that's the difference between us and the social justice warriors. I think, we're talking about how we can build something. They're talking about how they can steal something.
It's a very fair assessment. Out of curiosity, because I can't see, how many people are watching live right now?
700.
Whoa, what?
We had like
Oh my
750
god,
already.
I'm blushing. I'm like, oh my god, you guys.
But
Um,
yeah, but seriously though, I really think that you could. I mean, in things you could have rewards. I mean, you do have rewards on Patreon, so you could, there could be reasons to subscribe. It's not just. It doesn't necessarily just have to be out of the kindness of people's hearts and whatnot. So you get like a Patreon subscription, and you get whatever extra content they want to come up with. I'm not the one making the bloody website, but
yeah, that's. I mean,
I think it's
oh,
something that people should really, really have a think about. I don't want to be involved. There's the idea. You guys,
well, let's put this to the comments then. If there's people that are watching right now, this kind of website idea that we've been discussing, is this something that you would be interested in seeing? Let's just get like a
good
quick straw
question.
poll going on. Because if we're talking about these people that care about gaming, that want gaming to succeed, and we want to remove these kind of influences, let's see if people would be willing to support that. Like, I'm not saying like give money, but
Yeah.
like just general
Well,
something you want to check out.
yeah. I mean, initially, what people are going to need most is time and effort, and that's the thing. This is going to be like anything. I'm absolutely sure that a large percentage of people here are probably about my age and have probably got a good deal of work experience. Your age also, and a good deal of work experience behind them. So I doubt anyone here is like, some 17-year-old Tumblrite who has no idea how much work anything is to produce. So, I don't think that if someone was like, look, I'm actually going to make a commitment to do this, blah, 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 A, it's something we'd give coverage to, I'm sure, because it'd be great to see this thing succeed. But B, I'm sure that they wouldn't underestimate the challenge.
Yeah.
But you just got a lot of yeses there.
Let me see if I can. I don't. Okay, there's some yeses. Yeah, for me because it's updating on the side comments here. It updates.
Yeah, I'm getting it there
It
as well.
updates every. I don't know how long the update is, so
Yeah.
it looks like it's every couple minutes or every minute. It looks like it's updates. There's a lot of comments here. Jeez.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing because we've seen when money and politics enter into these industries in the way that gaming has due to its rapid influx in popularity and profitability, we start to see a lot of these things happen. Hollywood's had it happen before, where they get these clowns trying to come on in and be like, you need to not show this in the movies. You're going to teach children how to kill. Like, I mean, Indiana Jones too. He pulled the guy's heart out. And
Yeah,
it was he was alive. That's realistic.
Yeah, I didn't go on to them pull anyone else's hearts out. So
Yeah, I haven't. I've never tried. I hit one of the ribcage ones, but that was about it. And that was really hard to get through anything because the ribs and bones and calcium and shit. But it's just we're living in an odd world right now where the idea of telling stories is being trumped by what should be in those stories.
yeah,
Like we're taking
other
it away.
people's rules.
Yeah, it's kind of like what was I saying? Like Gone Home, for example, is one that got a lot of love last year, and that was, I feel, definitely was promoted through similar tactics to what happened with Zoe Quinn. Not anything involving any kind of sexual nature, but just the nepotism and cronyism of the industry and how they were helping their friends out. And it's like, here's a
Oppression
game that was
Quest. Someone just suggested Oppression Quest. Yeah,
oppression.
Alessandro the Cynical. You know what, mate? I might make that.
Oppression Quest. You're oppressed, motherfucker.
That's brilliant. I like the name.
We should just Oppression Quest, and it's all about being an internet video game journalist.
Yeah.
Living on your own, requiring your whole goal is to try to get enough Patreon subscribers so you can live in San Francisco while being paid peanuts while writing about the corruption and oppression that comes from gaming because you are so victimized and apparently the world hates you.
Fuck your way to the top.
That could be an alternate ending.
Well, it's just one method on the, it's one mode of gameplay.
It's like Civ Revolution for video game. It's like, do you want to declare war or your mouth?
But yeah, seriously, something has to be done. I mean, I'm sick of social justice warriors. I'm sick of everyone giving them credence. I am absolutely sick of it.
It's really just them giving themselves credence, and then everyone else. and being told, and it's like some of the people that blindly support them, I don't think they have like a critical thinking skill in their entire body. Like I read some of these comments that people report back, and it's like, oh, obviously this is all fake, this is all made up, and you're going like, you really think that the guy who posted the Zoe post went through and like made all of those really in-depth screen captures with explanations and dates attached is just inspecting element on all that? You know, like is that what?
I'm subscribed to a few pages on Facebook that are feminist pages, and I don't tend to comment on there because I don't want to get banned. I like the source of humor. I mean, and just
you need something for This Week in Stupid.
Yeah, I do actually. No, actually, hang on. Right, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 things for that already. Honestly, I have to cut so much out of those. Mate, we're only on Wednesday. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going to happen between now and Saturday.
It's been a busy week.
You know? Yeah, and it's just things like I basically save the links and then I put a note for myself above what it is, and I've got stuff like a rape app, Miss Andrew Bubble, passive men aren't hot, don't investigate rape. And it's just like fucking hell, pink car lanes for girls on highways, and it's just like, oh fuck me, there is some just crazy coming out of the woodwork. But
they have to though. It's sensationalist journalism at its absolute finest. They have to be this way because they have to get people to talk about them, and even if it's absurd.
I don't know though. I mean, those were just my titles. They weren't like anyone else's titles. They had like legitimate sounding titles, and it was a person like saying, oh well, or a company saying, we think we should have this for women because women are so disadvantaged.
You said on their women only, like fast lanes on the highway?
Yeah.
Wow.
Safe lanes and stuff, sort of.
Safe lanes, sure. So they're covered in bumpers like a bowling lane.
I have
for when women want to put on their makeup while they drive, and
I don't actually know yet. I haven't looked into it properly. I just saw the article and was like, yeah, I'll save that.
Yeah, save that shit. I want to hear that.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be good.
And also, I just want to put this out there. I know plenty of women that apply their makeup while they drive and who do it safely. So I'm just making a joke about. Because it's so hard though. You almost feel like you have to apologize, and I hate the fact that I do that sometimes. Like I have to apologize for like making like a quick-witted joke about something because it's like I don't hate you. It's like,
they've got no sense of self-awareness, so they can't ever laugh at themselves. So anything you say to them is a mortal insult because they can't look at themselves and go, yeah, okay, maybe I am a bit like that. Which it's the only really reasonable thing you can do when someone's pointing out how you act. It's just like, yeah, okay, I do. Otherwise it wouldn't be a fair criticism, would it?
The thing with criticism is like, we all get it. You get it. I get it. Everyone gets it.
Oh God. Yeah.
And we take it in stride. We understand, like, because the whole thing with like Repsian pointing out like the death threats that he got yesterday, and those are like being told to kill yourself is not a death threat.
Yeah, no, don't be a perf.
Like being told that like someone's going to come to your house and kill you, that's a death threat.
Exactly.
And I mean, these comments happen. People will oftentimes start in the worst possible place to respond with because they want to have they want something to strike back with right away. And it's an annoying situation because when you get so many voices that are talking, so few people with rational, logical discussions can come through, and it feels like you almost have to kind of drop yourself to that level in order to be the loudest voice in the room, so then you can at least get their attention and just go, fooled you, here's the actual empirical evidence supporting my claims, have a nice day. But at that point, then what you've done before to get to that point gets almost completely disregarded, and that's where, like, the actions of some people, including myself on a couple things, have been like really kind of dumb just to get the point across.
Yeah. But yeah, it's nothing. Someone in the comments just said patriarchy simulator with Oculus Rift support. And Alessandro, I just want to point out that consequence of feminism would then be used to justify more feminism. So is it worth it? And how exciting would a patriarchy simulator actually be? It'd be paying for the dinner. It'd be going to work while your wife stays at home. I mean, it's a catchy name, but it would actually translate into a really boring game.
Well, actually, if you think about it, though, if you think about it, the yeah, no, if it be a patriarchy simulator, yeah, but if it was a game that was built around like after the patriarchy has been dismantled, then men could be stay-at-home dads while the wives go to work, because that's actually happening right now too, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah, I've
That
noticed
paradigm
that.
shift is happening.
Yeah, that's why I saved that article where it was some woman's magazine and she was complaining that passive guys that don't really do too much aren't very attractive. And I've seen like articles with guys who have been like, yeah, I became a stay-at-home dad for 7 years, and after the first year my wife stopped having sex with me and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, yeah, they're not. It doesn't tend to get the ladies wet, does it? You know.
Well, I
So I
mean,
don't.
it really depends on the relationship, but I think if a couple is secure in their relationship and they understand that a lot of it is too is you get these predetermined gender roles, which becomes this huge issue for debate, that are causing this what they might call like the emasculation of men. But it's also like too the way that our society has progressed has almost started ostracizing men simply because so many jobs are now automated, and men are not able to, like, there's jobs that they were supposed to do that are being harder to find, whereas administrative work and things like that are on the rise. Believe me,
Oh
they're
yeah, no,
on the
no,
rise right now.
I'm well aware they are. Yeah. So I'm getting sidetracked by the comments because I've changed my mind on the patriarchy game. Actually, they've made it sound awesome. Sorry, I didn't mean to get sidetracked, but they made it sound really cool.
Cool. Could they just do a game where it's like it's a patriarchy simulator, but it's the Warzone edition, where it's like you every single round you play of a Call of Duty style game during the post action report or the after action report, you have to respond to a letter from your wife and children that miss you because you're trying to fight the forces of the world.
Well,
You
I was
know.
actually they've actually made it sound a lot more interesting by making it a lot more mundane. Actually, if you're in an office, say you're the office manager. Well, no, you're not the office manager. You start off as just some guy in the office, and the game you don't actually do anything, but then it just brings you up like a menu option saying, right, you've been promoted above your female co-workers. You get paid 25 cents more every hour, and you get to see the scowls on the faces of the female co-workers and stuff like that. It would be properly misogynist stuff. It would be fucking hilarious to see. Proper, like, it'd be venomous almost. It's the sort of thing a social justice warrior make. I think it'd be funny. But yeah,
It's
I'm being
definitely,
mean. I'm
yeah,
being
it's definitely something. There's quite a bit of stuff there with all this shit. I mean,
yeah.
we can joke about it and everything, but I think it boils down to the fact that, like, when it comes to games and it comes to this situation and everything that's come from it, that's going to come from it, because this is nowhere near being done.
Hmm.
Anyone who thinks it is fooling themselves. There are quite a number of larger YouTube channels that I know for a fact are working on
Hmm.
videos, and this is still being. I mean, the fact I will put it to you like this: the whoever posted it to Reddit, posted the link to this to Reddit, has actually, I don't know if it's still up there or whatnot, but it was listed. It hasn't been taken down. It hasn't been deleted or removed
Right.
on Reddit's gaming. Now, granted, it's only got 4 upvotes, and so it's definitely not on the front page, because there's like 12,000 people in the forum right now. But people aren't necessarily silencing it as much because there's been such a pushback against the censorship. What people need to remember is, if you're going to comment on this kind of stuff, if you're going to put this stuff out there, be angry, be passionate, but be civil as you
Yeah.
possibly can, without going over that area, that line, and that line that not to cross. You know what that line is. We're sensible enough people to understand what that line is.
And the thing is, and the important thing to remember, I think, and I'm just as guilty as anyone of this, is that I know how hard it is to keep your cool because you are justified in giving them back what they're giving to you.
Yes.
It's hatred. It really is hatred, and it's deliberately designed to be inflammatory and offensive. And if even me and 4chan are basically saying, look, we've got to be the bigger people here, which is it's a joke. We're not supposed to be the bigger people, but I started doing this just because I was pissed off with the world, and I just wanted to take the piss to alleviate some stress. I wasn't. ever trying to like talk to people and actually properly persuade them. Really, I guess I don't know, but yeah, you know, it's important to remember that they're flailing around because they're spoiled children who have just been caught. You know, they've just been absolutely caught, and so there's no need to get angry with them because they're not worth it.
Because the thing is, they're
They're literally
harmless.
not worth it. Yeah.
They're not going to come to your house and kick you in the dick.
Oh God no, God no.
You know, and it's like,
no one on the internet is ever going to do that. You know?
no. Every time I keep hearing about the death threats, I just go, okay.
Fuck.
I go, okay. No, if that's what you want to go with, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that are, you know, not trying to discount all death threats that have been valid claims.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like if you go around your entire life hiding behind this victimization shield, where any kind of criticism is immediately met with, I have gotten tons and tons of rape threats and death threats, and you maybe two. That's not like, you know, okay. Like I don't think they should happen. I'm not trying to advocate to say those things because I really feel that they just distract from the overall conversation. They have no point. They have no purpose. And if you say them, like I don't think you have much of an input in here because you're trying to derail a situation that people have been fighting very long and very hard to get to the point of where we are now, to where this conversation is now public. This conversation is now out there. And the people and I've noticed that a lot of the rape threats and death threats have diminished because people are looking at this from, okay, well, now we've actually done something. So let's not let our past sins come back to haunt us. Let's not play into those, to what they want us to do.
Yeah, definitely. It's a sorry state of affairs. It's really surprising. You know, I grew up reading like PC Gamer and stuff, and these guys were fantastic. They used to just, you know, I got all the information I needed out of these reviews and previews and all this sort of stuff, and it was really exciting to get these magazines. And now I look at like Kotaku, and it's just got a feminism tag. And if you just look at the feminism tag, it's just like I cannot even. I cannot even. Legitimately, to turn into a Tumblrite fully there. I've got no words for it.
Yeah, it's that's what it's become. It's because they want to keep reminding you that you are a shitlord. But the thing is also, I mean, you know, even though these websites, like look at Kotaku is owned by Gawker Media.
Yeah.
Okay, Gawker runs.
Gawker are a stain on journalism as a
whole. Oh yeah, I actually saw that they were hiring a couple months ago, and I thought about applying because they pay really well. Like I was looking at what they pay. It's like for part-time work, you can make pretty good money.
That's the point. You can sell out. Anyone can sell out.
I know.
You know, that's the difference. You know, I wouldn't work for them on principle.
Holy shit! Sorry, somebody put up the both Internet Aristocrats video and my video on Pirate Bay.
What? Why?
It's
free on YouTube.
An archive of YouTube videos of the Quinspiracy / Zoe Quinn incident, upload for future generations, and to make sure that the hawker never can take these down. The hacker or hawker? No, that's an O. So obviously proofreading is not Anonymous's forte. But apparently there's 10 files. I don't know what it... oh, here we go. A bunch of different videos on here. A bunch of different videos. One of your videos is on here. The damn lies in the video game press. Repsian's video, my video. Short. Wow, man! Somebody's like, we got to protect this for the future.
Yeah, but this is my point, right? If we had our own video game website, you know, or like we, the community, you know, the normal people, if we actually had a gaming site where we could talk about video games. This wouldn't happen, but at least we would have like the safe spaces for it, sort of thing. And it saddens me to say that I've got to fucking talk about safe spaces for normal gamers in video game culture. I mean, I'm constantly baffled by having to utter these sort of words. But yeah, it'd be a very strong rallying point if that was the mission, I think.
Well, even on the what's it called here, the Cynical Brit subreddit, because I found a Zoe's response to TV. Then someone posted this here, a guy named Jan the Viking Does anyone else feel like there's a good discussion being buried in vitriol, confusion, overreaction, personal bias, and dare I say, dick waving? And I agree, actually. I think that's a very well articulated point. There is a discussion like the one you and I are having right now about this that is being buried by all of these other elements. That if you look at what John Walker put out, there is no mention of what sparked this whole response. Of the false flagging, of the censorship. This is what people are mad about. Yet it bears no meaning whatsoever to these people because they're so deluded by their own mindset. It's crazy.
I don't. I would much rather people didn't censor and just gave an apology. I don't understand why they can't just fucking apologize. Because if they're just like, look, I'm sorry, I was in the wrong there. I'm really sorry. I apologize. I admit my fault. I'm going to make sure I don't do this again in future. What's anyone going to say? What could you say to that? Oh, well, that's fair enough then, isn't it? Well, you can't be angry. That's them admitting their mistake, and then then they are obviously going to have to work to change it because everyone's going to be expecting it of them. And they're just going to get hammered even worse if they don't live up to that standard, that the minimum standard that they can. It's why not apologize? Why not?
I'll put it to you like this. So at last year there was an event where Anita Sarkeesian one of her videos was being false flagged. And like an idiot at the time, trying to be antagonistic, because that's what I was doing at the time, I promoted it. I was like, keep fighting, keep flagging, right? And everything. Even though I never flagged her video.
Don't apologize for. Hang on. Don't apologize for past actions because it was a different situation. This is all very new, and
this is very new. But I think, the point I'm trying to make is there's nothing wrong with saying you're sorry and moving on. That's what exactly I'm trying to get at. It's like, yes, I did what I did, and I apologize for it, and I moved on. That's the point. Like, that's the thing. And people have said, okay, I'm glad you apologized. You're at least trying to be the better person. Because you can apologize for shitty behavior. It's okay.
Yeah.
If people learn from their mistakes, we constantly evolve.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what apologies are for. It's when when everyone's telling you, look, you've gone too far, and if someone doesn't accept your apology, then that's on them. You've done all you can do. So, that would be the mature thing to do. But the thing is, if they did that, like you said, like someone in the comments said, their ego would be it for their ego. You wouldn't be able to take them seriously if they claimed they were so high and mighty. So every time they tried to get high and mighty, it'd just be like, yeah, but you did X with Y, so shut up, and that's all they'd get. So, yeah.
No,
Dark Owl's just... Oh,
it's
sorry.
Very true. These people, I don't know. It's like they hide behind every righteous indignation that they can.
Yeah, they really do, and they use it as power, leverage as well. That's how they're getting where they are. You're a misogynist. I know better than you. You should hire me. Blah blah. That sort of, not necessarily in that order, but that's the theme behind what they're doing. You need a more diverse workforce. You don't have enough lesbians or gays, and what's a coincidence? I happen to be a fucking lesbian, black, transgender, animal, furry, whatever. It's all about quotas and. Lo and behold, they happen to fit those quotas.
It's very true. It's very true. I don't know. I mean, I hope that with this debate, with this entire situation, we can open the minds of people who were on the fence, because that's how you win these wars. And I think war is even like a very kind of term to use.
It's a conflict.
It's a conflict, and that's how you win these things. Is you find the people that are diehard on either side. Are the ones that aren't going to budge in their position. They've closed ranks on either front. And that's where the people like you and me and others that are kind of sitting here in the center are going like, listen, we can acknowledge that there are issues on either side. We can acknowledge that there have been things that have been done. But in this particular discussion, in this particular event, the catalyst of it is not what they're telling us that it was. And people cannot forget that there was silencing and censorship and deceit and lies and bullshit.
Yeah,
and that's what this is about. Because now we've seen. Because did you see this? The images pop up of the senior moderator from R Gaming trying to talk to Zoe, and there there was also images that popped up of her trying to get in contact with whoever was on Internet Archive.
Right.
And
To
it's like,
obviously get other things taken down, presumably.
obviously, I mean, I uploaded the audio from my video to Internet Archive, you know, and everything. So there's that, but it's like,
I don't know
you,
anything about
I don't know. I don't think it was about me. I'm like, I don't know, maybe, but I have no idea.
it. Right.
So,
Why
but
wouldn't it be?
there's still
We know
elements of
that she flags your content. Why wouldn't she be going somewhere else to get your
Well,
content?
apparently she flagged somebody else's too. Someone else said they got a copyright claim this morning, but I checked their video and I didn't see it. I wasn't taken down.
Okay.
I honestly don't think she would do it again.
I think that it would just it'd make things worse for her. It would be better for her to. I think she's done a moderately sensible tactic. She's taken a moderately sensible tactic by saying that I'm just not going to talk about it, because at least then there's no way she can do any good without an apology. She's not going to give an apology. So at least by not talking, she's not going to do herself any injuries.
Yeah.
The worst is, oh, she didn't talk about it. Well, to be fair, there are always a lot of reasons why you might want to talk about something. I wouldn't want to, go through anything particularly private of my own on Twitter. I think it's ridiculous that people do, but these things happen. So, but yeah, she's taken a good tack. I just wanted to address a couple of comments that sort of.
Sure. Yeah, we can do that real quick. 'Cause I do need to
Yeah,
get here in a second.
yeah, I know. I noticed what the time was. Someone invited us to something.
Is it a gangbang? Because I'm here for the gangbang.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Rachel
That was
Edwards.
a
I
lovely
don't
tea
know.
party.
Everyone seems to know Rachel Edwards, but I'm afraid I actually don't. But she's invited us onto Tales from the Infrared. I don't actually know what that is either. Did someone tell us what those are? Do you know what
Yeah,
that
I
is?
don't know what that is. Tales from the Infrared? I'm
Yeah.
unfamiliar. If someone could
Rachel.
email that to me or tweet that to me, that'd be great because I
Yeah,
can
me
check
too.
that out.
So I don't know what that is at all.
Tales from the Infrared. Yeah, I don't know. That's a new one on me. But I mean, I'm definitely down. Okay, Rachel Edwards. I'm gonna Google this now because I saw the
Yeah.
comment pop up. Google.
Yeah.
Okay, Rachel Edwards, Studio Weebly. Tales from the. Oh, she's a Honey Badger Brigade?
Right. Okay. I don't really know much about them. I only know who Karen
Okay.
Strong is.
Yeah, I'm kind of just trying to figure it all out here. Yeah, because unfortunately the way Google kind of works, and when it comes to these comments, is like they don't really work out the best for us to read.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay. It's a
Right.
YouTube.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess send me a message and I'll talk to you about it. I'll see what it's about and see if it's the sort of thing I'm interested in doing. What about yourself?
Oh yeah, I know. I'll take a look. Yeah, it's Googling it here. It looks like it's from. Oh, okay, I see. They just over the course of this discussion, there's been lots of tweets going back and forth. I don't know if you've been included. I know I've been included.
Right.
About posting this to A Voice for Men. Has posted your video and a link to my video on the site. So I have a feeling it has something to do with that.
Right.
So
Okay.
we've attracted the MRAs.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not.
I'm unsure whether I'd do it off the top of my head. I'm not going to say no, but the thing is, I'm in two minds about this, right? Not because I've got any issue with the men's rights movement. I think they've got some perfectly legitimate complaints, and I think that most of them are down to a combination of traditionalism and feminism. Yeah, I think they've got completely legitimate complaints, and the feminists are acting like complete Nazis about this. Looking at it from an outside perspective, it's baffling because feminists and MRA should be on exactly the same page, because although but it's because women might have to sacrifice something, so they don't want to do it.
But that's entirely a discussion for another
Yeah, exactly.
time.
But the thing is,
Discussion.
when I'm arguing with with feminists, they're like, oh, well, you're an MRA, and it's like, actually, I'm not an MRA. I'm not affiliated with anything like that. I don't call myself an MRA. I don't do any kind of activism for it. I'm just really staunchly anti-feminist and pro-common sense.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
so the reason I'd be hesitant to do so is because I wouldn't be able to really it would be more difficult to use that argument against feminists to defend my position if I was involved with the Voice for Men in any way, even if it was just going on their website. I don't visit the site not because I don't like it. It's just that I don't need to. I get the same information just from other sources.
I agree.
And more power to them, sort of thing. They're free to do whatever they free to campaign for whatever they want to campaign for. But it would be difficult. But on the other hand, it doesn't matter what I say to feminists because they always just call me an MRA. So whether I go on there or not, I'm going to get the same label. So I may well. I don't know. It's complicated, isn't it?
It's I always tend to look at these things as like there's nothing ever wrong with just having a discussion, even if it's with dissenting opinions. Differing opinions, because then through that discussion you oftentimes come to realize that a lot of the issues are similar in nature, if not just one or two points off from one another, and that's causing the problem. And then if you can address those minor grievances, you'd be amazed at how much progressive mindsets can come forward, and how that discussion can actually lead to the equality that I think everybody wants. And that's always kind of what I've been talking about is like you can have discussions with these people and have it work in everyone's favor, but there's got to be a willingness to come to the table and to compromise.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the way I view so many things in life. And
Rachel's just put Tales from the Infrared's a nerd culture radio show, which
okay,
that's different. That's if it was to talk about men's rights. I'm not really.
Sorry, because I googled it and it popped up on Paul Ellam's YouTube page, so I had no idea. So if I made that mistake, I do apologize. I'm googling it kind of like just really quickly here because I've got to start getting ready to take off for an appointment. But
yeah.
So yeah, okay, well yeah, Rachel, just send me just go ahead and send me a message. And I'll check it out. I guess if any other news media organizations out there want to chat, send me a message. Check it out.
I'm happy to have a conversation with practically anyone, to be honest. I'll probably end up adopting the other position unless it's against feminism, in which case it'll just be me agreeing with people. Someone earlier said you should get people on here who don't agree with you, and it's like, well, I'd love to, but I don't think they want to. I would absolutely love if someone can find me some feminists to talk to, and it would literally just be a conversation like this. That would be great, because I could literally. I'm actually going to try and get Ryan Wiley on.
Really? Ask him if that happens. You need to ask him how he screwed up earplugs or rubber bullets.
Sorry?
Oh, you're talking Ryan Riley from HuffPo?
No, Ryan Wiley.
Okay.
Criticizes The Amazing Atheist a lot, and he was on his show the other day.
Oh, right, that guy. Okay, yeah.
I'd
Popping
like
up there a lot more. It's interesting. I've been noticing
that.
that.
Yeah, he's not making bad arguments though, and I think that's why The Amazing Atheist has been giving him any credence.
I know people. Some of my subscribers have been asking, like TJ to put me on there. I'm like,
you should do it if you can get the opportunity, man.
If he invited me on, I'd come on there and chit chat with him for a while. I like to talk to people. I don't care kind of what the background of it is. We can chit chat about anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. I wouldn't attack people who I was talking to. I absolutely wouldn't. It's one thing making an insulting video, but I make those because I've been insulted by the video I'm responding.
That is a fair assessment, or a fair reasoning for it. So, all right. Well, actually, yeah, I do got to get going. So I guess, is there anything else anyone wants to ask real quick? Because I need to jet out. Oh, I guess Sargon got taken out again. So we got a couple seconds here before he gets back. If anyone has any questions, feel free to tweet them to me or post them in the comments over here. I can take a look. And looks like my Twitter is going up again. Nope, it's other people talking. So this has been a very good, very informative discussion. I had a lot of fun with it. I hope you guys did too. I don't know how many people are here right now. We need to remember that no matter what our differing opinions are, having a civil discussion trumps all else, in my opinion. Having discourse is great, but when it resorts into
a lot of just straw man or ad hominem attacks and stupid excess bullshit that doesn't need to be there and is just there for shock and awe, it detracts from the overall argument. And I think that's what's causing a lot of the problems here, because we're watching these journalists, we're watching these other people toe the line completely and just and do all that shit, and that's fucking everything up. So that's just my thoughts to you guys on that one. If anything, just try to keep it civil, because that's how we win.
Yeah.
When they
So
have no
my
weapon and
connection
no
went out.
ammo against us, that's how we win.
Yeah, I agree with that I heard of there. Yeah, definitely. Don't go mental at them, but it's difficult not to. So you have to hoof then, mate.
I'm sorry, what?
You.
Yes, I do. We need to definitely do this again.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to. I've had a really good time. It was really nice to talk to you. I've been watching your videos for ages, so it was nice to finally actually get to have a chat.
Yeah. It's I've been, like I said, I watch yours as well, so it's good to chit chat. Plus, I like to have these moments, and 700 people watching is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm genuinely surprised. You've been,
even
been a big
during,
draw.
Drunken Peasants live stream, I've only seen it go up to like maybe 1,800 at one point. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you very much to everyone tuning in. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, it's MundaneMatt. You guys can follow me on Twitter at MundaneMatt. And just keep talking about this issue. Do not stop. Just do it in a way that is sensible and level-headed, and you will be able to disarm them, because they want you to get mad and say something stupid.